Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'll be your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, Michael Huber.
Hello.
Michael Damiani.
Yo.
As our panelists, and my E3 dreading co-moderator, Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
Ubisoft picked a date, Blood. Well, it's all happening.
Yeah.
People are promoting stuff and using the word E3. They're like, they're feeling it again. Distinguished guests, we are here to talk about some of the biggest headlines in the world of video games. But before we do that, we must first answer for all of the mistakes that we made last week. Blood, begin corrections music, please. Boop. We had another pretty okay week. The one main thing that people thought that we didn't talk about it a lot, and maybe you can elaborate if you would like to, Damiani, was the rumors that Kojima's working with Xbox. Those are just rumors, potentially. There's stuff people are pointing out in videos or pointing out statements. They're pointing out things potentially that Kojima's doing. But I don't know if you were excited about that or feel that there's anything.
I
mentioned that it was happening.
To this.
We mentioned that it was it was just...
I thought you were going to say something about a different Microsoft rumor, but I was like, oh, no, I'm not. I was not following that, unfortunately.
Just a rumor. If they make an announcement, I think that'll be much more exciting than that, but that's why we didn't dive in. But if you check the tape, if you go back into the fine print, I believe you brought it up, Blood, and we both just kind of shrugged. And a lot of people listing their comfort games, because we talked about comfort games, which in of itself was comforting. Thank you for that. And corrections music, please.
Did anybody say Resident Evil?
For comfort? No.
Damn it.
Not even safe rooms, I don't think we brought up. Gotta end that music. Oh, phew, okay. He's gonna go. I'm gonna be stuck.
You never end anything before the Huber gets something in there.
That's true.
Right?
I appreciate it, Huber. I want to start this podcast off on a happy note, on a positive note, something we can be proud of in the world of video games. From Zeganak, developer Hello Games recently released another large update to No Man's Sky called Expeditions. This update brings a new game mode, new missions, new rewards, reworked mechanics, and more. Hello Games started participating in reward drops for Twitch streams. As the game approaches its 5th anniversary, it feels older. It's incredibly refreshing to see a developer actively support and enhance their game. From a rocky launch to now, Hello Games has only improved what was once considered a failure. All these updates with 0 additional costs and 0 microtransactions, fan and critic opinion of No Man's Sky is largely improved. It gives me hope that other developers can turn around their bad games. You're nodding, Huber. Any games right now that you hope will get the No Man's Sky treatment?
Too late now, but I wish Resident Evil Resistance had a little bit of that support, honestly. You know, if you'd given that another year or so of post-launch support, I feel like it could have got there.
Have they officially said they're not supporting that anymore?
Oh, months, yeah, like a year ago. They supported it for a couple months afterwards, and then that was it. Yeah.
And I'm just going to add this for a silver lining. 2 out of the 4 What's Good Games gals are expecting, and they just announced.
Yeah.
Brett and Andrea, so kudos to them and their team. That is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Huber, how perfectly is this timed, man? Like, are you...
Perfect.
I'm not concerned that you're not going to have opinions about Resident Evil right now because we just got a Resident Evil showcase, which actually incorrectly on the last podcast when we covered that, I said it was the Resident Evil Village showcase. This is Resident Evil. We're talking anime. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of things to discuss. We just had the showcase. I actually wasn't sure if we were going to be talking about it on the podcast. I want to lead with it before we do get to Pop-Tarts and Toaster Strudels, our preview of the next 3 months of gaming releases. Because I think it's worthy of talking about. That was a pretty good showcase, right? There's a lot of interesting things. What if I just... I want you to recall all of those things. What's standing out to you right now at this moment? I know it'll change 5 minutes from now, but what is it
Mercenaries mode, no question. Fans have wanted this back for so long. You know, it was absent from 7. Obviously, the remakes didn't have them. And, you know, Capcom putting out these weird experimental multiplayer games like Reverse and Resistance. Everyone is just like, yo, just give us Mercenaries. We want Mercenaries. So for them to show that and keep it a secret until that announcement too was awesome. Very good moment.
It's interesting seeing it wash over this group that, like, we didn't suddenly like RE-verse better, but it didn't make us as upset as it used to. It's like when you get Mercenaries, you're like, okay.
It doesn't even matter now.
All right. And that's kind of, that's kind of how I feel about all these weird other Resident Evil games. It's like they've never tripped up the main franchise, you know? It's like, you see George R.R. Martin going off and making Elden Ring, and you're like, well, we're never getting Winds of Winter now, you know? Whereas, like, I see some weird Resident Evil announcement, it's like, go have your fun. That's fine.
Totally.
It's never, I guess you're making so much money, you can make these bizarre, weird experimental things.
Yeah, Jones, I'm really glad you brought that up because it is a very good time for them to show Mercenaries because coming after Resident Evil 3 with Resident Evil Resistance, there was a lot of criticism about cut content from Resident Evil 3, and people pointed the blame over at Resistance. They're like, why did you even bother with this instead of just going all in on Resident Evil 3? So then they announced Reverse, and it's like, oh my god, are we going to relive this whole thing over again? Like this weird half-baked multiplayer game? And they announced Mercenaries. So now Reverse is not directly impacting or responsible for anything Village does. So I think now Reverse can breathe maybe on its own. Like you said, it's not hurting anyone. Play it or don't. So
what's the last thing that had Mercenaries? Was it RE5?
I believe 6.
Oh, okay.
6 had it. Okay.
Totally ignored 6, man. I said 6.
Yeah.
6.
So it's been a while.
Am I ever going to play 6, Michael Huber? I don't know. But in 5, oh man, played it so much in 5. And again, I love this aesthetic so much, and so I'm like super, super down for that. Interesting. Now I'm thinking about Resident Evil 3. It's an interesting thing you brought up. I'm not sure the length of Resident Evil 3 had to do with time. I don't know, looking back now, if like it should have been longer, if it had sold more or reviewed better or generally performed better, if it had been a bigger game. I think it was enough. I think they played that smartly.
It's not so much about bigger. It's just parts people wanted to see.
Right.
Like stuff that was there originally. And I think, when you see somebody remake something, like you want there to be at least as much as there was in the original, if not some extra stuff. So, for there to be full like scenes or sequences that don't make it, like that's always going to be a bit of a letdown.
Quick correction. Mercenaries, the DS game came out. The 3DS game came out after 6.
Oh.
So the
Came out
standalone.
after 6?
Yeah, but that was like 10 years ago now. So
Whoa.
so that was the last.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I didn't forget about the game. I just didn't think it came after 6.
Nope.
You were gonna say something, Damian?
Oh, I think the other thing with RE3's length is just that it came out so soon after RE2 remake. So I think people were like, we would have waited a little longer if you needed some more time to make this, fleshed out. So I can understand the criticisms,
Well, and the fact that there was just so much that looked like it was reused from 2 that people were just like, this is just overpriced DLC, blah, 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 blah. Talking points.
I heard an interesting thing. I heard someone told me that 3 was actually made before 2. I don't know if that's true or not, but like it would be interesting.
Seems weird.
Super weird. Correction of a correction. 6 was after Mercenaries. I'm out of my mind. I'm sorry.
Is Capcom like off camera waving you these corrections? It's happening right now.
I'm sorry. I can just see the comments right now.
Oh my god, Huber. Because I was like, I thought Mercenaries was 2011. I'm like, didn't RE6 come out after? But maybe, I'm like, it's a long time. Maybe
Resident Evil 6 just like clouds my head, Damiani. I get confused.
Yeah, it's so nebulous.
Yeah.
We had lots of people showing off other press conferences. During this press conference, we had Dead by Daylight is going to have their own event later, which they held back actually seeing any specific details about the crossover.
They said there'd be a conference?
Well, like their own event.
Yeah.
Their own Dead by Daylight Day or whatever.
They were going to reveal more information on in May or something,
May
right?
25th?
Or May or June?
I
know they're going to
May 25th.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
interesting.
And I'm sorry, Huber. Welcome to Raccoon City. We get a photo of a sign. That's all I got. Come on.
I got one of those in my closet right now.
To be fair, they did say they need to do all the special effects and everything, so I imagine because of that, there's no trailer, but they at least could have showed
I'm not talking about trailer. I'm just saying like another
Some
photograph. Just something that
More
was just
people set photos, Huber.
Yeah.
Let's get some
even
of
if
that.
Even if the cast having froyo by like the side of like the street, by like a, crafts table in the back or something. I just was surprised.
I really like the cast too. I got my fingers crossed for that movie because I really like the cast.
Expectations higher for that than Infinite Darkness, which you will watch but are not.
Infinite Darkness will probably be better, but I still am more intrigued by Welcome to Raccoon City. Seeing the Spencer Mansion, the Raccoon City outbreak, that's very intriguing. And again, I really like the cast. Kea Scodelario is so awesome. She's going to perfect Claire Redfield, 10 out of 10. So.
Okay, I got the info. It's the Dead by Daylight thing is going to be for their 5th anniversary celebration on May 25th.
That's so fun! 5th anniversary.
I liked his attitude too. He was like, "Congratulations on 25 years. We're 5 years old." Dead by Daylight. Now that's some 5 years that I felt. No Man's Sky seems like a longer amount of time. Dead by Daylight, I remember. Yeah. Oh, good old PAX. I remember being at PAX, being like, Dead by Daylight. That sounds interesting.
So cool.
I'm excited about Mercenaries. That seems neat. But like in the couple of hours since we watched this, I can't stop thinking about Resident Evil 4 on Oculus Quest. Holy cow. Holy cow. Because
Jones, you love VR. Tell us why, man. What is it about playing this in VR?
I'll put it plain and simple. Like red laser sights. Like that's a thing in Resident Evil 4. That's a major element, you know, like not only just getting a headshot, but getting like, no, I got a clean headshot. You know, these like monks, they have these robes that just make their head a perfect circle, and like I just sniped them like right between the eyes. And seeing that world in, you know, all those outside environments, like so many areas that like maybe they have to add more detail to and stuff. I kind of want that game to look bad in a weird way. Like I kind of want to get right up close to textures that like they were not planning on me like getting that. Look at this tree, whoa, you know. Just freeing the dog, you're in front of you, and I'm gonna be emotional, man. I'm gonna take the phone off the hook when that comes out. I'm not gonna be able to talk to anybody until that playthrough is finished. Like. Because every time it comes out a new console, I play it again. Every time. Yeah. Without fail.
So replayable. Do you think when Leon jumps out of the windows, do you think it'll like first person, or that will be in third person?
You won't roll. There won't be a roll. I'd be very surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some of that stuff they'll have to cut away, but I'm curious, how they're going to do that, because there were a lot of action scenes like that. You've got the boat. Like there's. Well, it's going to be very interesting.
Just basic combat of like you shoot a zombie in the knee, or you gonna walk up and roundhouse kick them and suplex them. Yeah. Yeah. Is that happening?
Seriously, and I noticed he has the gun and the knife equipped at the exact same time. So are we gonna be able to go crazy, like pop, knife, shoot? Like, are we gonna get to do stuff like that?
My guess is it might be the counter mechanic. They'll like if you get grabbed, it might be that. Because that would seem a little OP if you could just keep swinging your
keep
knife
poking and shooting.
Yeah, that's like it'd look kind of goofy too.
Yeah. Like CQC, Damiani.
Well,
seriously.
You know what's gonna get people to jump scare? The stupid snake cube we were talking about hunting. You break that crate and the snake jumps at you. You're gonna have that knife ready to go.
I swear to God, the snakes are random, dude. I'm always like, there's no snake in here. Ha!
Yeah.
They get you every time, don't they?
Like the end of the dock. If you go to the end of the dock and shoot in the water a couple times, like it'll just like the fish comes out and grabs you. Yeah, it'll have to be different, but I'm just very, very curious. Hopefully the village part of that is very difficult at the beginning.
And I wonder if, based on the success of that or the response, if they go back to other games, to first person.
Oh,
like if they do remake 1 or remake 2 or 3. Even
that would be hard because they'd have to make those environments 3D since they're not pre-rendered. Yeah. Sorry, I was laughing because I'm like, it was one of the first things you get to do. Is stand still and let the chainsaw person get you in first person.
Dude, Damiani, what's the movie where it stays first person when the guillotine? Is that like Bill and Ted's? There's like a guillotine in a movie, and you still are seeing out of the decapitated head. That's totally in a movie. Let us know in the comments. But I'm wondering, what if you do that?
Not Bill and
Ted.
I know that much.
I was like, I don't think that's Bill and Ted. Okay, sorry.
I like see it so clearly in my head.
Maybe it was the robots and they lose their head or something at one point. I don't know.
Wow. But like, imagine if that happens, the head, and you're just still first person, like looking up at your body.
It's a meaningful kill. Oof.
The deaths in that are insane.
Yeah.
Some of the deaths.
Dude, yeah, just now that I'm thinking about it, holy crap, yeah.
They're crazy. Like, the most graphic in Resident Evil, I feel like, are Leon's deaths in 4.
Yeah.
That game does have a natural, gruesomeness to it. But I just think such a fun announcement. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing the heck out of
Jones,
that.
you're
But then,
getting,
of course,
you're getting me hyped, man. Yeah.
But then, of course, all of this supporting the main release, May 7th, is coming up very soon, less than a month. We're getting a second demo soon. Damiani, do you have the details on that demo?
Yeah, Damiani, what's up?
Damiani, you got the... I remember there was some kind of a plan that they had.
All I know is there are multiple demos coming on different days.
Oh.
You're getting two 30-minute demos, one for the castle, one for the village. You'll have each of those. You have 8 hours to access that 30-minute demo. Only from on PlayStation, though, for those two. They're PlayStation exclusives. And then later in May, like, was it May 1st? The rest of the world, or rest of the platform, sorry, will be able to jump in for an hour. And you can spend your hour, 60 minutes, however you want, between the castle and the village. And what a convoluted... The best thing I saw was the reaction on Twitter was the 8 hours at village where you get to spend 30 minutes. This is a Christian Bale, like, interview, like... It just, like, when you hear the 30-minute part, like, wait, what? That makes no sense. What are they doing, Capcom?
Yeah, weird. So weird. But funny.
Yeah.
It's like... Maybe
it's so strange.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to get people to talk about it more because it is so crazy. It's a
end of the
marketing
day,
stunt.
At the end of the day, it works out. At the end of the day, you're like, wait, that's like an hour. Oh, that's pretty great. Like that'll be fun, and obviously free demos. And so, like, what's to complain about? It's just.
I mean, it's always
we win, I guess,
even with a demo.
right?
I feel like it's weird to have a timed lockout. You know, like.
Is this
You know,
Mario's
Monster
35th
Hunter
anniversary
Rise
bleeding over?
had like a number of like tickets or something like that, right? Like you could play a mission so many times.
But you could do it at any point. I think you're right, Blood. It's the time limit for which you can play the demo or it's available. Because people are already saying for the 8 hour, and oh, thanks, that's when my work shift is. I can't even get to try this out. Or like people are just like, at least for the 24-hour window, people are like, I could get off later, try it out, spend my 60 minutes. That 8 hour window is a little rough.
So random.
Yeah.
And then they did the one-shot demo for the remake, and it was like limited time. But then later, retroactively, they were like, hey, you can play unlimited now. So I assume they'll do the same for Village after it's out. Like, weirdly, a month or so later, they'll be like, hey, demo's now playable unlimited.
But Blood, you pointed it out, I think, during the stream reactions, or you caught it. They actually said that you could finish and then replay if there's still time left. Like on the 30-minute demo, like there's like some kind of completion trigger in there. So you like if it takes you only 15 minutes, go back, replay it again. It's like kind of weird because it made it sound like it was more open-ended where you will have no way to do everything you could possibly want to do in this demo, but have at it and have fun.
Yeah, I think that's what's strange to me because, like going back to Resident Evil 4, when they released that demo, and obviously like that was on a disc, right? But you could just like tear through that thing over and over. Just kind of get to know that demo, and then you could see the differences in the final game, when that level came out. So it's just funny that it's like they're trying to stop you from doing that. They're trying to stop you from getting 100%. To know that level. Yeah.
Because if it is combat focused, I mean, it's gonna maybe potentially feel like a Mercenaries in a way, because it's a demo. So it's like you're not really thinking about completing a story. You're just thinking about fighting things.
Yeah.
So just that vibe, of like, let's keep fighting forever. Because like, if it was that Blood, like that Resident Evil 4 demo, we played that thing a billion times.
Right.
Like,
you say let's keep fighting forever. You know what that reminds me of also, Huber? Mercenaries.
Yeah.
So you just go to the village, right, Huber? Like, why go to the castle? We've already been to the castle. That was the old demo. It's like, I'm sure there's new areas and stuff, but it's like, if I had an hour, like, I clearly spend more time
staying in the village, yes. Save the castle for
I mean, we'll find out when the half-hour demos come out.
Right.
Because those are separate.
I didn't get to play the demo for Breath of the Wild at that one infamous E3, but I always enjoyed the idea of each of your cancellation times. Like, right when you were like, oh, what's over there? It's like, oh, sorry, I ran out of time. You're like, ah.
I remember that.
It's just funny. All your heart's being ripped out. You're like, no. How long do I have to wait? Amuses me. Huber, you playing this? Or if you are a PlayStation owner, are you gonna soak up all 2 hours of this demo access?
We're definitely gonna stream it right when that launches at 5 o'clock. It was right
On Saturday, yeah.
on Saturday. Yeah, that's a stream straight away. We'll go through it. We'll stream it for sure. Also, before we move on, I wanna ask you guys about the trailer. But I know some people are really sensitive to spoiler stuff, so I want to save it for the end so people can skip if they want to.
Oh,
So
okay.
just, you know what I'm saying? Before we end, I want to ask you guys about the trailer they showed.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
So don't move on yet. I just don't want to interrupt you. I want to let you know ahead of time so I don't interrupt you.
You're interrupting me now, so you interrupt me later.
Yeah, okay.
It's a fascinating
interrupted later.
tactic. We'll see how it works out for you, Huber. Samwise Game Geek on Patreon wants to know if you could give the RE engine treatment to any PS1 era game, what game would it be?
Dino Crisis.
Oh, there you
And
go.
we're
Duh,
done.
sorry. Samwise Game Geek. I don't know what you were. Yeah. I typed that out, not knowing what the answer would be, but so obvious. Faraz Rizvi asks, with rumors around a VR remake for RE4, how about that? That was posted
Wow.
like 4 or 5 hours ago. He was like,
There were rumors.
Not
There's rumors.
remake. It doesn't seem like it's a remake so much as
sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, they're going to have
it
to
isn't,
change
is
things,
it?
but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how much they change.
This is not. What was shown was the same game. It's not the remake rumors that were in the Capcom.
Right. It's going to be like a House of
Right.
the Dead version
Yeah,
of RE4,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
What are some of the classic
Whoa.
games you would love to see in VR? Personally, a
Wait a
VR
sec.
remake of Metal Gear Solid could be amazing, but we're going to have to talk
Yeah.
about whatever Huber's...
No, wait, because everyone is talking about Resident Evil 4 being remade instead of Code Veronica. Was it that all the VR game instead
I
that
don't.
everyone was thinking about?
I really
Maybe.
don't
All
think
those
so.
rumors? Whoa.
Could be.
Wait, you do or you
This-
don't think so?
The stuff that's out there, unless like a
Oh.
lot of people got it's wrong. There, no.
Okay.
Oh, so you think there's still another RE4 remake?
Okay.
I think there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is just something to hold people over until that's
Got it.
ready to be shown
For that
off.
crucial 26th anniversary. Is that really when you hit it?
Hey man, Capcom's on a roll. They got to keep those hits
No, I'm
coming.
not. Yeah.
So VR game.
Yeah, classic game in VR. Personally, a VR remake of Metal Gear Solid could be amazing. Not a first-person game, but maybe something cool that can be done with an overhead perspective and stealth. Twisted Metal 1, of course.
Ooh, Jones, that's good.
Just a Twisted Metal game in VR. It'd be fun.
What else? Yeah. That Metal Gear is another interesting one that I think could work in like
Oh,
a similar sense of like Astrobot, where you can go into first person at times, but you can also do that kind of zoomed out classic
fun.
Metal Gear view. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so fun, Bloodworth.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and stuff, if that could work in VR. It'd
Yeah,
be
man.
fun to just be
Whoa.
kind of looking at the whole area, jumping around.
I think Silent Hill would be one of the other obvious ones. Since they're
Dude, exploring Silent Hill in VR, Damiani. Good lord. So good. Love
Nice. Get out there and buy yourself an Oculus
it.
Quest.
Holy crap. Has
And
that
a
been
really, really beefy PC.
Has that been made yet? Silent Hill in VR? I'm surprised nobody's like somehow modded that or
I
made
don't
that.
think-
There
yeah.
might be a mod. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's in Dreams. You can probably count on that.
It's in James, for sure.
Yep. The PS5 and PS4 get the Village demo on April 17th, the Castle demo on April 24th, a week later, which is weird. And Castle and Village can be played by everybody for an hour total on May 1st. And Huber's going to play it a lot. Do you see yourself? Might as well play it 10 times, right? Or you just get
Just
a
one
taste
and,
and then...
one and done on
believe you.
stream only. Gotta save it for the full playthrough, Jones.
Eh,
Don't give them too much right away.
It's so close.
It's so close.
It is time for a tradition, a tasty tradition. The Easy Allies podcast called Pop Tarts and Toaster Strudels, that we are late. Which is, of course, 100% Daniel Bloodworth's fault. Is where he really should be tracking stuff like this. He just doesn't. Doesn't choose to remind me of this. And because of that, for our Q2 2021 preview, we will not be covering Outriders, What Comes After, Lost Words, Beyond the Page, Oddworld Soulstorm, Star Wars Republic Commando, Borderlands 3, Director's Cut, Cozy Grove, What the Dub, which we streamed, Legends of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 4, and Poison Control. We're also not talking about ports or next-gen upgrades mostly. One or two significant ones might sneak in here. But these are games coming out in April, May, and June of 2021. I've asked these panelists to select a Pop-Tart and a toaster strudel from the bunch. From the bunch, meaning all 3 months combined. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, fun, Pop-Tart, toaster strudel. I guess that doesn't mean anything. No, it means a lot. It means a lot where we picked those things specifically. And I just want to put this out there that I love both of them. If you were to give me a stack of strudels right now, I would eat those strudels.
Yep.
But just like if you had somebody who hadn't tried one, or somebody comes over to your house, and hey, what do you got in the pantry? You'd be like, you wouldn't just throw one at them. You would specifically say, do you want a Pop-Tart? Do you want something that I just did? Odds are you probably like. Odds are you probably had some time. You went to some camp or something, and I'm familiar with those. Did you toast your strudel? I don't know. You got an extra, sauce pack. I would ask, do you have 2 or 3 extra icing packets? There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables.
How is your oven? Is this going to be burnt on the outside but cold in the middle?
Can you eat a strudel cold or not? People have opinions about these things.
Strudel.
So our Pop-Tart is the thing we're a little more comfortable with, a little more confident with, than toaster strudel is the thing that may require a little bit more emotional, mental work, or could potentially turn out to be weird. Take that, toaster strudel fans, as always.
I'm excited.
Kicking off the middle of April 2021, Ashwalker's A Survival Journey, which is coming to PC on April 15th. This is a black and white adventure game. Lots of resource management. You are just going around an alien world, look like the moon. Yep, it's going to be a good month for survival. Saga Frontier Remastered, coming to the PlayStation 4, Switch, PC, mobile on April 15th. Had to remind myself this is one where the characters are mostly new and the backgrounds
Oh, yeah.
kind of look like
Yeah, that one looked interesting.
Really excited about this, but I want to hear what the hardcore fans say about this version compared to the original. Like, will this be the one to definitively play? So I'm kind of waiting for the response.
It's such a, I think it's like the underdog of underdogs on the Square Enix lineup, because a lot of people just don't seem to be that into them. And I know I haven't played the Saga games. I don't think Brad's played them. So it's very interesting to see that, because I remember that when Saga Frontier came out, there was one that a lot of people were talking about on PlayStation, but sort of since then, the franchise has just kind of gone back under the radar more.
Damiani, is Saga Legend? The Final Fantasy Legend 1 and 2, is that Saga? Or is
that's Legend. Yeah.
Aha!
Nice, Jones.
So I have played those.
Jones flexing.
Yeah, how about that? Me and that franchise, we go back to the Game Boy. Yeah, it's a bummer because, I'm thinking about Ys 9, Blood, you just reviewed that, and it's tempting, but I've already started Bravely Default 2, and, I can't. Once you start, a big RPG, and then you get, excited about another RPG, it's like, what am I doing? Why don't I'm not going to finish that one either. If I'm not going to finish this first one, why would I do that to myself? I love I go to different websites to get all of these different things, and obviously this is not absolutely every single game. There are a lot of fun Switch games. A lot of fun indie PC games coming, a lot of stuff we're not specifically covering. But I love just seeing a game called Don't Forget Me. If I'm going down the list and I'm like, oh, gotta write down Don't Forget Me. And just Jones. Jones. Cyberpunk pixel art adventure game. Just coming to PC on April 20th. Looks very cool. Huber, MLB The Show 21 comes to Xbox Series X and Xbox One. Oh, and PS5 and PS4 too on April 20th.
Seriously. Game Pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's all of that talk, but just MLB The Show 21. You excited?
Yeah, it's the first one it's cross-gen, but now
Right.
it's the first one on these new systems, so that's exciting. And the big new addition this year, other than obviously new graphics and new technology capabilities, is create a stadium. That's kind of the new...
Oh, cool. Couldn't you do that before?
Point.
That's not...
The brand new, Jones. So we get to do that now. There's a lot of props and stuff. Yeah, we could choose a minor league
showing
stadium.
Me that maybe years ago, maybe a decade ago. I remember somebody look, you can make stadium. Maybe it was just customization or.
So excited about that.
Nice.
Make EZA headquarters, dude. Let's go.
What are you calling it? Is it gonna be Huber focused or EZA focused?
EZA. Oh yeah, EZA for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that stadium. Buildings Have Feelings too.
This game looks really
Which is
wild.
a city sim where like the buildings are people, like the building, Animal Crossing with buildings. It's hard to. Yeah.
There's buildings with legs walking around. Like
PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on April 22nd.
I'm not sure how it plays, but it looks fun.
I think the most solidly named game on our list of April 2021, Orbital Bullet. It's so good.
Bullet.
That's like a good
Great
ability name, you know?
Yep.
Reminds me of what was that Housemarque game when they were making the bullet hell ones? Was it Resogun?
So they have Resogun.
Yeah.
They have Nex Machina.
The PS4
Absolver.
launch one that we rotate around.
Oh,
yeah.
so
not
it plays
the-
like that.
Not
Yeah.
the title, but the game, yes.
Yeah,
It's,
that makes
sense.
they're calling it a
plays.
360-degree roguelike. So you imagine a Resogun where you can go up and down 2 different floors.
Great.
You are a little dude with a big gun blasting,
Nice.
bad guys. Looks very fun. Looks very smooth, very colorful, lots of bright lights. And I believe I read this just as is. Near Replicant version 1.224744874139 on
And you
PS3,
forgot the
Xbox
ellipses.
One. I did? Was there ellipses?
There's
in
an
that?
ellipses at the end of that.
Thanks for catching it, though. Phew, you caught it, and Damiani did. PS4, Xbox One, PC on April 23rd.
What's the word, Damiani?
Huh? I mean, it's just cool that people have an easier way to play it, an updated version of it.
I mean, it's a game that needed an update. It's
Yeah.
a game that
How?
didn't have I don't think it had the budget to match the vision at the time, and so I think there were a lot of issues with it that people basically had to suffer through to get at what the heart of it was actually a pretty cool story and interesting world. And so now, and now it feels like, okay, they've smoothed out the edges, and sure, it may not be the most amazing gameplay wise or whatever, but it's I think it's a lot better than what it was, and so I think it's going to be a much better jumping in point for people who may have been put off by the flaws.
That automaton money.
Spend it. Legend of Keepers is a turn-based RPG coming to PC, Switch, and Stadia. On April 29th. Total War Rome Remastered. It will be on PC on April 29th. Remastering Total War seems like a thing we're going to keep doing, right? Have there been?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I've seen there's been some Age of Empires remasters, but I don't know about any Total War remasters. So yeah, it's interesting.
Rome, I always hear, is one of the better ones for sure. Rome is like one of the bigs.
Yeah, they have definitely put out a ton of Total War games. It's like every 8 months or so, it seems there's another one.
Yeah, because even I feel like expansions are treated as like big additions for sure.
A group stream, I am counting down the days until we do. New Pokemon Snap arrives on Switch on April 30th.
It's so funny because I'm not that into Pokemon, but man, Pokemon Snap just appeals to me.
Same, Bloodworth.
Apparently they
Same.
just put out a new overview video, like as we started recording this. So
Yay.
don't know what new details. I think people are excited for us to play it as a group. Don't know. I wasn't a part of that group stream, so I'm very interested to see if it's this will be one of those cases where this sounds like this should be amazing, but like the expectations are simply too high that it cannot deliver on the original experience. So I'm talking both about the stream and the sequel of the game. Not to be too much of a downer. Also, this is one of the games that for me, with even before playing a single minute of it, I feel confident saying I don't agree with it being full price.
Because
I don't feel like
Nintendo
this
and Pokemon.
I know why they're doing it, and I
Yeah.
know why they feel they're justified, but yeah.
Wait, so Pokemon Snap $60?
Oh yeah.
All right. Excellent. That's good because now anytime anyone complains about Life is Strange True Colors being $60, I'm just going to respond with new Pokemon Snap.
Now you made me scared. I'm going
I'm
to the website
curious
right
what the
now.
length is like, because that's the
going
thing
to
with
the
that group
website.
stream. I mean,
That's the question.
we played that game, and there, obviously there's more you could discover.
$59.99.
but
Yes.
We
Wow.
played that game in just a couple hours, but the expectations during those days were a lot different. So
That is true, because I keep seeing the same people who grew up and played Pokemon Snap. They have like a love for it and they want to play it. But at the same time, I've seen people who maybe weren't quite as big of Nintendo fans back then and didn't really get into it, calling it that's the very definition of a rental when they see new Pokemon Snap.
yeah.
Like back in the day, that's a rental game. It's
Blockbuster
like,
video.
Blockbuster
Damiani.
rental game, exactly. Yeah. So I've seen both sides of the fence for that, yeah. When it comes to Pokemon Snap.
New Pokemon Snap, Gamefly.
But it's not. Yeah, it's a game that I know I'm going to enjoy, and I don't really think about performance too much, just because it's one of the 3 Pokemon games we're getting in the next 10 or 11 months now. So, yeah, I think it will do extremely well. I actually did kind of want to get negative in that conversation, Damiani, so I appreciate you getting raw and real.
Well,
just in terms of like what are the negatives are gonna be? What are people at the end of the day? Where are expectations? Because you said they're different now, and it's like, where are they though? I need to know exactly. Like what do people think new Pokemon Snap is gonna be?
The $60 price tag, it shows that they are treating it as a big Pokemon release. But, like, if it is kind of like the older ones, I just feel like managing your expectations, if this was 40 or 30 or 40, then I feel like the expectations going in would be like, okay, just a fun Pokemon spin-off type. But, like, this price shows us and is telling us, like, hey, full Pokemon game, so we're going to judge it as such, I feel like, which is totally fine.
I see what you're saying, price tag. R-Type Final 2 comes out on Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, not PS5, Switch PC, April 30th. This game looks beautiful. I did not know we were getting
ships look so big.
Sweet new R-Type. Yeah,
thought of R-Type.
I don't know if I'm going to make time for it, but I did not know that existed, and that's very, very soon. I'm excited about it. And finally, in April, Returnal. On PS5 exclusively on April 30th, a game I am extremely curious about.
So pumped.
I have questions.
So pumped.
I need to know how repetitive this game is. I need to know how long this game is, because what's been crazy to me is at the end of the advertising, they're starting to throw out a lot of really crazy, like, alien vibes, like a lot of really weird, like the environment's kind of responding to what you're doing, and feels like the worlds are alive. Almost feels kind of like you're inside an organism that itself is breathing, and it's just
cannot wait. This studio, after a couple commercial bombs, they were making a couple games at a time. They're Matterfall and Ex Machina. They didn't do as well as they wanted to, so Housemarque was like, hey, we're going to have to reevaluate our entire company. The way we make games, what games we make, everything. Full reevaluation, and now this is the first game coming out of that. So they're putting it all on the line on this one. I'm so excited. Like you said, Jones, just a lot of questions still. Cannot wait.
Feels like they've been very straightforward with what they show, though. They're very much like, here's the game. Like, this is exactly what you're doing. This is the core of the gameplay. And here's just a lot of different, and bullet types, maybe? I'm not sure what you're spewing out, all of that crazy stuff. But lots of different enemy types. And they did a good job showing off that game. And that's April. And then we're in May. We have Syri the Beginning on PC on May 4th. Cute little bubbly guy just wandering around. Good old Syri. The Colonists, a farm sim with robots, comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch on May 4th. Resident Evil Village.
How many Pop-Tarts we throw in it?
PlayStation 5.
What was that game, Joe?
PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC.
This is my Pop-Tart, obviously.
I was curious. I didn't. It's not mine. I picked something else. Because I'm like, we can have that conversation.
Yeah, you knew.
Then we're having the conversation 3 times, Hubert. We're talking about it while we're talking about the Resident Evil Showcase. Then we're talking about it again.
I know.
But
this is my Pop-Tart. You've heard everything I've said about Resident Evil. I will say, though, they have done such an incredible job marketing this game. I love the showcase not giving away really many spoilers. I know the Game Informer thing has quite a bit, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just really hyped with how they've been doing it. I mean, the whole world feels like they're paying attention to Resident Evil Village right now. Like, everyone is on board, it feels like. I don't know anyone who's not excited for this. They're hyping it up as to be like one of the greatest in the series. Like, expectations are maximum for Village. So,
it's fun in an anniversary year because it's 25 years, but it's Resident Evil 8. So it just kind of shows, like, despite how much saturation that series has, that they still, coming around to, even though they won't call it 8, just like RE8.
Yeah, that is really funny. That, like, it's clearly 8 in the logo.
I know.
The logo still holds on it. They still hold on the 8.
Yeah.
They literally, like, when they cut to the logo, all you see is 8 for a second. And you're like, yes, but don't call it that. But yeah, it totally feels like a big deal. And it's creeping up on me, man. I'll be like washing the dishes, Huber, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
oh shit!
Wait, what is it, honey? What day is it? We got 3 weeks. Okay.
It is funny to me when a developer will have something like this where it's like you show it in one way, on like a logo or text or something, but then when they say it out loud, they do something different, right? And so, like, The Witcher 3 was the one that was, like, really hilarious because it was like the logo was Witcher 3 with, like, a 3, like the slash marks. Yeah. But then to type it out, you had to put the number 3. But then anytime they would say it out loud, they would just be the Witcher Wild Hunt. They would never even say a 3.
Yeah. That's funny. Oh, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say about the trailer. Can I ask you guys something?
Oh,
he interrupted, and he didn't interrupt when he needed to.
Damn it! I'm sorry.
Great.
I'll put spoilers on screen. Hit me.
Okay. Do we think they're doing a Last of Us Part 2 manipulation, and that masked character at the end of the trailer, that's not how that scene is going to go down? That's actually someone else, or that person looks different?
No, I think that dude's that's somebody that's very closely tied to Chris, because I was going through the press center looking for stuff for the thumbnail, and they had
Press
like
center hype.
Scoops. Right
they
now.
had this artwork with like Chris and then that character and then like their little emblem for their squad or whatever. So there's definitely something up with that character. I think people like trying to make assumptions based on the voice, maybe a misdirection or just an assumption because they hired the same person. But
we don't think any Last of Us Part 2.
I think that scene is that scene. I don't think that they're trying to mess around with that scene.
Cool.
Yeah, I do think there's a huge portion of that game we're not seeing at all. That we'll get to. Yeah, there's going to be some other stuff popping up.
Thank you for humoring me. I just, my mind went to that. I know you like doctoring trailers, Jones, or like investigating that.
We'll talk as much as you want to talk, Huber. Damiano was excited you were going to be on the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, we got Huber tonight." Yes, just made sense. The stars aligned. Hood, Outlaws, and Legends.
Toaster Strudel. Yeah, Bloodworth. Sick.
PS5,
I didn't think anyone else was gonna
PS4,
pick it.
Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC, and May 10th. This is something that I thought looked really neat, but I haven't thought about it. And then here it comes.
That's it. That's the problem.
Okay.
They're putting out updates out there. I'm seeing nobody talk about it. I have no idea like where the hype is. It could be fine. It could come out and blow up that week, but it isn't getting the traction in my head, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
I love the premise. 2 teams of 4 have to infiltrate a castle and get the loot and escape. That is just, in and of itself, a really, really awesome premise and setup. And then, I was just watching some of the class trailers, Jones. They have, like, the Ranger class. They got the Stealth class, Brawler. Looks really, really fun.
I have a very weird take on this. So you have Outriders, which I think, had a lot of issues at launch, but I think you have these companies who have never really had something of this magnitude in terms of, popularity. People Can Fly, I don't think has ever been more popular than they are now in terms of like people recognizing them and, having this.
They had Gears, but that was
right, with their own IP. And
Bulletstorm was big, but not that big. I get it.
Just technically, they need some time to figure this out. Is kind of a moderate launch that you can then build upon, like a blessing in disguise for something like Hood, Outlaws, and Legends, where you're not going to be known for servers tanking or other things. You're just maybe not going to be known for a little bit, and then maybe people get the word out. Pretty though, just very
and Jones weirdly tied. loosely, weirdly tied to Robin Hood. That's where the hood comes
Yeah.
in. You're jacking the key off the Sheriff of Nottingham to like get in and get the loot. I'm super down for experimental co-op style games. I'm just here for it. They referenced Hunt Showdown as some inspiration.
Oh,
Really
interesting.
cool game. Just, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to stream this.
You're gonna be streaming a lot of stuff, Huber. Are you gonna be streaming Wrath of the Druids, the first big DLC coming to Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
That got delayed, Jones.
Oh,
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
so there's originally going to be coming out May 13th. We're covering the next couple months. Is that delayed, to the end of the year? Is that
No, I think it was just 3 weeks.
okay? Still qualifies as Q2.
Yeah. I think you now have the correct date, actually. It was originally April 29th, now it's May 13th.
Gotcha.
Got
yeah.
it.
Okay.
Which is smart, because holy shit, Assassin's Creed Odyssey launched okay, technically, but in the months that followed, the amount of bugs and problems have just snowballed and grown with Odyssey. So hopefully Wrath of the Druid...
Valhalla?
Sorry, Valhalla, yes. So hopefully Wrath of the Druids, launches in a good state. Because,
Sure.
yeah, it's just been so rough. People can't finish quests. I have a friend who's, still not done with the game because this thing keeps glitching out.
I had a couple nasty glitches come in right before I ended my playthrough. I was like, "Whoa, what's this weird arrow thing?" Okay, yeah, I'm done. Moving away from the campaign.
Yeah, it's been in a state.
And I don't recall that with Odyssey. That's just weird. It's a bummer about Valhalla. These new consoles, I tell you. But you're excited, right here, just content-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Druids are kind of alluded to in the main campaign, so that'll be fun.
Monster Harvest is coming to PC on May 13th. It's also coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on June 3rd. This is a kind of cartoony-looking Pokemon-ish monster game sim
Oh, okay.
thing. Kind of like Stardew Valley, but with monsters. The 2 Famicom Detective Club games that came out of nowhere that are coming to Switch are going to come out on May 14th.
Yeah, that's interesting
So
because you're talking about games that were never released, in the West, and kind of a little bit of Nintendo history, and getting these full sort of remakes and completely new art and everything. And yeah, I'm very curious what these are going to be like.
It's that type of game that makes me think of I can't remember if it was the Ace Combat guy. Some guy at a PSX when they had a new Ace Combat thing, and one dude stood up and was like, yes! So it always reminds me there's always one person. There's some hardcore Famicom Detective Club fan out there that just lost their mind. It was like, what?
Yeah, absolutely.
They had their Shenmue day. It's happening. It's May 14th.
Love it.
I feel like Mass Effect Legendary Edition is getting a ton of traction. I think that is an event. I think it must so much
I
more
think it's
so
going to
when
be
you have
one of the
normal remasters and recollections and stuff. Wow.
I think it's going to be one of the best selling games of 2021 is this collection.
Certainly of this month. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
There's just people.
Yeah,
it's not just
going to sell more than
it's
Village, I
coming
feel
up.
like.
I see people. Yeah, I see people talking about this is the release of the year that they're just I can't even think. Had to get dressed up in cosplay today because I'm thinking about it so much. It's just wow. And I know I've said some nasty things about Mass Effect marketing in the past. This is close. This is my second. Even behind Resident Evil, I was thinking maybe it would be this. Maybe I would talk about this because I'm looking forward to playing it and streaming it. And it's crazy to be in this perspective I am now to know that there's this excellent, dense, awesome adventure that looks better than it did before. That's just waiting. The clock's just ticking, and I'm just going to dive in and have a huge undertaking.
And hopefully just the seamlessness of it all too, now it all being on one package and just transferring your saves, just how full it already feels.
Damiani, you play Mass Effect?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
I did all 3 of them, yeah. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. That's what I meant. The trilogy, yeah.
And is that, I know you'll probably be checking those out, Blood, but is that are Are you making time for that in May?
I probably am gonna just try to like wingman a lot of your streams. If I can.
Okay. Hey.
Because I don't see myself like putting a lot of extra time into it on my own, but I'm curious to see what they'll be like and kind of relive that journey a little bit.
Yeah, I love remasters and just replaying video games, and this is such an awesome one because obviously with everyone's response to 3 being divisive, and then it's also going to be fun to see if 2 holds up. 2 is, in my opinion, one of the greatest video games ever made. Mass Effect 2, absolutely legendary. So it's just going to be so fun to like talk about these games again and see how they've aged, and it's just so fun. And then so fun.
The transformation they're making on the first game is really interesting, and it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. I mean, I think if anything, if I pick this up, but like I'm going to be picking up and like seeing like what does the Mass Effect 1 play style feel like now? Yeah.
Totally.
It'll be interesting because I remember when 2 came out, there were some RPG purists who were not happy with the change in direction from 1 to 2.
Whoa.
Yeah, they actually liked 1 style more and didn't.
Bizarre.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if 1 changes as well. Those same people will be just as vocal, saying, "Oh, now I just don't even care about Mass Effect. You were into 1 game I cared about."
Wow, I like 1, but just 2 is. I can remember so clearly because Brad played 1 and was like, it's fine, and then I got 2 before him, and I was because of GameFly or like I bought it or something, and he didn't buy it. I was just like, holy! I remember just like screaming on the phone, dude. Just like, oh my god, play this right now. He's like, okay.
I hope there's not a Master Chief Collection situation. I hope it works.
Oh man!
Don't put that out there, Joe.
Don't you put that hex on me, Ricky Bobby.
Just saying. I'm just trying to think. I'm looking at all the odds and ends, Huber. I'm just like, how can this not work? Because I like, you know what I'm imagining the last 2 weeks in May just literally being like an N7 party, just nonstop, just woo, people, just
play that, cool off with a little mercenaries, back off, it's back and forth. It's gonna be great.
I just, as somebody completely on the outside of that franchise, like that is a passionate fandom. Like that they're people that love. So excited. So I get all caught up. I don't know why. Every now and then you go through those like those games that you just own because of PS Now or PS Plus or your Xbox Gold or whatever. Just went through and I saw the first Subnautica and I was like, sure, let's download it. Haven't played it yet because the concept absolutely terrifies me. But it's a game I've been putting off. Subnautica Below Zero, the follow-up. Easy. Huber, just calm down for 5 seconds.
Damn it. Jones, I had a question for you about Mass Effect. I'm sorry. I did it again.
Subnautica Below Zero, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Switch, PC, May 14th as well.
Almost.
And the first one comes out on PS5. I think that's like... First one comes out on something.
Jones, there's no...
I think it's coming out on Switch.
No pressure. No pressure, and there's no wrong answer. Will you live with the consequences of your Mass Effect playthrough, or will you save scum?
Oh no, that's the bad. Like I was actually wanted to interject a little bit. I didn't want to put too much of my opinions about Mass Effect, having not played these games. But going through Pokemon, dude, that's the best. Is when you totally miss something, and chat's like, "You didn't get the significant," and you're like, "What?" And they're like, "That thing that just happened was huge. Like you just breezed right past it." And you're like, don't care. So like, I can't wait to just kill some alien race or blow up some planet. And I'm just like, oh well. They're like, dude, you just 4 hours of gameplay you just skipped basically. Like,
perfect.
Oh well. That's the joy. Like that's what's crazy about not only playing games from a technical perspective, but stories, like going through gaming stories in so many years.
There's definitely
I got a backseat on this one now,
kind of moments in Mass Effect, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna be tuning in, Jones. You got me hyped now. Holy shit.
Sure. Yikes. You just gotta distance yourself. You just gotta care but not care. But yeah, Subnautica, anybody checking out the sequel? Anybody? Just always been on my backlog. It's always the first one is always something I wanted to check out.
Yeah, I've never popped into it.
Same.
Aerial Knight, which is a brand that I'm not familiar with, but Aerial Knight's Never Yield comes out on May 19th. That was in the Indie Showcase that Nintendo just had. Shout out to Frank Code, which we'll be covering that in the next episode. But fun little runner. You're sliding under stuff and jumping over stuff. you remember this, Damiani? Thoughts?
Oh, is that the one with the like the?
It's in
the
Detroit.
beats and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a glossy techno, lots of bright colors. Yeah, it could be fun. A Bird in Cage, PC, May 20th. This is
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off Damiani.
Oh.
No,
You asked Damiani the question, I jumped it up.
No, I thought you asked me about Aerial Knight, and I'm like not familiar with that at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming like.
I didn't see the passion in his eyes, Blood. I didn't think we were getting a response there. Next. A Bird in Cage, coming to PC on May 20th. This is an adventure game and a metal album, just in case you want to one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, there are metal music written specifically for it.
Jones flexing there.
A Bird in Cage. Rune Factory 5 comes to Switch on May 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Knockout City, one of my least favorite trailers of the year, but it does look like a fun game. You're just picking up bombs, running it. It's basically, if you've seen like the 60s Batman movie, the scene on the dock where he's running around with the bomb, just that, the game. PS4 and Xbox One and Switch and PC on May 21st. Metopia
Yeah.
on May 21st.
I'm curious what is going to happen to this game in the streamer age.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing to come out on the 3DS, but I feel like it was kind of isolated because of that platform. And now that you can have some shenanigans, sharing that game with other people, like, I don't know. I don't know what could happen to it. It's a weird game.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be even more enthusiast driven this time. Like I don't know if it will even have the same impact as it first did. It's like kind of hard to imagine that it will. Also for me, it's just so weird to have these like me-centered thing. I know it wasn't as reliant, but so much of any game on the 3DS involved the Mii's, like not just Miitopia, but all like the freeware stuff, or some of it wasn't free in the end. At the end, like Find Me, stuff like that was dependent on like the Street Pass stuff and all that, and that's like does not exist inexplicably. Does not exist on the Switch. I thought that would be a feature that would be on there at some point, just because you take your Switch on the go, like tag people. Like why did you get rid of this great thing that, like, remember back in the office at Game Trailers, we used to do that all the time. It was like everyone was doing that, and then now it switches out. It's like gone. Yeah, like did the little dude bring it to conventions and get those special Mii's? Oh, come on, like.
But not only Street Pass, but just Mii's in general. Like I remember when Mario Golf, when I told Brad I was gonna be playing maybe as my Mii, he got like angry. He was like, screw these Mii's. Like, so yeah, I just don't see Lightning. I mean, I don't even know if you could say lightning struck with the first game, but like I don't see it being as popular or there being any sort of zeitgeist around it. I don't know why. Not feeling it.
I don't know why it's coming out. Yeah,
it's weird. A weird choice.
An airport for aliens currently run by dogs, which I thought was like
Pop-Tart.
Wow.
Whoa.
I thought this game came out. I remember playing this or seeing this a long time ago.
It was in
Xbox
a
Series X, May
showcase.
25th. Okay.
Probably last summer, I think.
I think I played it though. I don't know. I just remember seeing.
I definitely don't remember a chance to play it, but this game is cute. This game is interesting. This game is weird. I'm just very excited about this concept of like being stuck in an airport and walking up to stock photos of dogs in an otherwise three-dimensional world. And doing quests
I mean, it
for
does.
them.
It does kind of look like Bubsy 3D. I mean, it is a very kind of bare bones environment.
Right, but it's still, it's like you can walk around the space, right?
Yeah.
And then you just walk up to just like a photograph as a character. I don't really know what it's gonna be like, but I'm curious to see.
When did you arrive at this Pop-Tart distinction? Like when you saw the list today, or like has this been?
Yeah.
Have you been harboring?
I was looking through the
sentiment
list,
for
and I'm
this
like,
game?
what is
Oh.
gonna be my Pop-Tart? I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
Wow.
That's the one.
Respect, dude. You put it on my list, Bloodworth. Shit.
My goodness.
I'll be watching this
man.
with great interest.
I will for sure be checking back in with Bloodworth at the end of May to get his opinion on that.
Yep.
Biomutant, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, May 25th. That is my toaster strudel.
Yeah.
I was close to saying it too.
But you know what I've heard? The last thing I heard about this game made me feel better, which was that they delayed it because they were like, this game means a lot to us and we've been working a long time. We're not crunching on it. That's why you haven't got a lot of updates. That's why you haven't been hearing from us. Super hope that's not an excuse, but they seemed like prepared for that. We're like, we know this is a weird project. We know that like it looks a little different every time that you've seen it. Strictly basing my strudelness off of just the fact that I played it at E3, and I played it for a pretty considerable amount of time, and it just didn't.
Mm-hmm. Same, Jones.
Just didn't feel good.
It felt bad. It felt bad.
There's just something about like maybe I played too much Stranglehold or Wet or like those games.
There you go, Jones.
Where like if you see a person do a flip with two guns akimbo and they're like locking on to somebody and you're like, okay, and then you get into it and it's like, wait, no, this doesn't feel at all how I thought. It was like very tricky to actually target things, and like when things got hit with bullets, it like didn't feel great. It didn't like have a really good impact.
That sounds not good.
And it seemed like it was like there's a little bit of like melee in there, but it just none of it locked. It wasn't like one thing got their focus and the other things were a little sloppy.
And
it
it's
was just
not
all over the place.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Oh, go ahead, because I was
just gonna.
Yeah.
You go.
No, Hubert. I
go.
can't cut off Hubert.
I was just gonna say it's not straightforward. The game is not straightforward, and you want it to be straightforward, but the combat is freaking weird. Mm-hmm. It was not just like DMC go up and hack them. It was like weird, floaty. It was
and
bizarre
it could be,
game.
and it made me wonder, Hubert, that it's like, am I at like hour 3? Does this just click? Like, do you just really start flowing with it, or is it like one of those preview things where I remember the first time I played Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like, what the hell am I doing? And then by the time I got to that spot in the actual playthrough, I destroyed that boss because I was just like, pin you, grenades, I knew how to play it, and so I wonder. Positives is like really great NPC names. I remember there's just a lot of really weird animals that you were meeting, and I have all had very crazy cool personalities. Kind of like a Kung Fu Panda kind of vibe of just these like animals. Like if Kung Fu Panda was the like post-apocalyptic world, it was like Road Warrior Kung Fu Panda, but just like the animalness of each of the characters really coming through in their dialogue and their characterization and everything, and lots of neat surprises in terms of like what you're doing and. Crazy, like 90% of the stuff I've seen in the trailers was not in that demo at all. He's like a hot air balloon and he's been with weird mechs and stuff, and I'm like, I haven't done any of that crazy stuff. So hopefully it just took him a long time to make. Still gonna be curious enough to really check it out.
It's interesting to see the hype.
Signing up for Review Blood, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared to make that commitment.
It's interesting because there's so many video games, but only so many get the time of day to be hyped and talked about. And Biomutant has been hyped and talked about a lot. And I think that's because it has a sick name, Biomutant, and a cool main character. Yeah. And a good main character. Like, the main character, immediately people were like, I want to play this. I don't know what it is, but I want to play it. Yeah, so I just think that's,
Rocket Raccoon, it's Toxic Avenger kind of, just this, like...
I do worry that, like you're saying, Jones, like my biggest concern is that they focused on kind of like big conceptual things and art style and, making something that looked cool before they really nailed down a lot of the fundamentals. And I think that's, that's the thing. It's like you can polish up all of the graphics and add more detail to the world and all that kind of thing. But if that game just doesn't feel good to move around and shoot things and dodge, like it's not gonna matter a whole lot.
We will see.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, after all those delays, we will see.
It has been.
King of Seas, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on May 25th. You're sailing ships. You're fighting ships.
Yeah.
Looks pretty
sweet.
sweet.
A lot of these piratey games out. It's going to be pretty tricky whenever Skull and Bones finally releases.
I was going to say, Sea of Thieves Season 2 kicking off, but Skull and Bones still waiting. Yeah. Still holding on.
Wait, Season 2
Yeah,
only?
Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
2? Not like 7?
No, I think they probably realized, hey, we should make seasons. And here's Season 2. Yeah.
Cool.
It is,
okay.
it does represent kind of a different outlook from them on how they're going to be releasing content.
Cool.
Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster.
Too bad.
It's been more very excited, but not something I know a lot about. I've played a bit of Persona, but I haven't played the earlier SMT series.
Put a smile on Huber's face.
Yeah, hype. Just obviously because of Ben, and because of Persona 4 and 5 being two of the greatest games ever made. But I hear this one is even harder, a little more intense. So I feel like this game is no joke, you know? You open this up, you crack this open, you better settle in and be prepared. Also, Devil May Cry 2 Dante, best looking Dante. Hot take.
Oh.
Hot take. Do you agree?
We got lots to cover here, Huber. We got a lot to cover.
I kind of like DMC4 Dante.
And I would have to stare at pictures of Dante for a long time before I would be able to give you something. From memory, impossible. Earth Defense Force World Brothers, PS4, Switch, and PC on May 27th. Hard to get too excited, but then again, it's hard to say anything bad about EDF.
Well, it's also funny
Just
because
keep
it's
doing
like
you.
it's a spin-off of Earth Defense Force, but does that matter? Like, yeah. But it's EDF, but it's voxel based,
right?
So it
Upside
looks
down.
kind of more like Minecraft or something. Yeah.
Roots of Pacha comes to PC on May 28th. That is it's like Stardew Valley, but primal. So that's like if you were in the primal era farming sim. And World's End Club, which we just recently saw in I wonder if it was an official direct when we saw World's End Club. That is a murder mystery-esque game coming to Switch on May 28th.
Yeah,
Any
it looks
hype-
like it's
has
going
any
to play
hype
around
built?
with a lot of those expectations and do things a little bit differently this time.
Any hype been building since that game got announced? Anyone else talking about it? Do we just know it's happening?
I don't think it's like generated more hype, but those games are so weird because you really don't want to know a lot going in. It's all about the twists and turns, so it can be pretty tricky to market it or to tell somebody about it, other than to say like, you know a friend that would like it, and he's like, hey, you should play this, and then just let them download it and go from there.
And that is it for May. Yay, 1 month to go. And now, a word from our sponsor. When you use the bathroom, you always close the door behind you, right? Not always, but I do. You don't want random passerbys looking in on you, like my cat, so why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going to the bathroom and not closing the door. Huber, big fan. We'll get to that in a second.
Huge fan.
Did you know that your internet service provider like Comcast or Verizon knows every single website you visit? And what's worse is they can sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who will use your data to target you. ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that your online activity can't be seen by anyone. I use ExpressVPN on my devices. It works on everything, phones, laptops, even routers, so everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can still be protected even if they don't have ExpressVPN. And the best part is, using ExpressVPN is as easy as closing the bathroom door. You just fire up the app, click one button, and you're protected. Yeah, see, closing the bathroom door seems like a hassle to me. Again, I don't recommend it. ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by CNET, Wired, The Verge, and countless others, including Michael Huber. We've spoken about this on the podcast, but just in your own words.
Incredible. I was a little. You maybe really fast. I never even downloaded music back in the day, man. I'm kind of a straight-laced person. I like to buy movies instead of like illegally download them. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Whoa.
I was nervous about using a VPN. I was like, this seems sketchy. So easy, so chill. Highly recommend.
If you're like us and believe your online activity is your business, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/allies today. Use this exclusive link, expressvpn.com/allies, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/allies. Feels good to have Huber in your corner. You're doing well. We all chew gum. I hope so, because I very much enjoy gum, but not all gum is created equal. Some might come in fancy packaging, but they only cover up bad breath. Others are loaded with sugar, heck yeah, and can wreak havoc on your teeth. That's true. Luckily, the oral care experts at Quip have made a gum that stands out from the pack. Get it? One that can help prevent cavities and it tastes great too. It was only a few short years ago that Quip reinvented the toothbrush for the modern age. They've done it again this time for chewing gum. They've launched a new gum that's actually good for your oral health. Good luck convincing your parents, and comes with a dispenser that'll remind you of the one-click candy you loved as a kid, loved in the past tense. I'm a little insulted by it. Quip gum can help prevent cavities and freshen breath when chewed for 20 minutes after eating. It's sugar-free, has tooth-friendly xylitol with 0 calories, and to satisfy your taste buds, Quip adds a long-lasting mint flavor, crunchy tri-layer design. Huber, crunchy tri-layer design.
This is bizarre, man.
And stamped it all with the classic Quip tongue.
I just bought a Quip toothbrush 3 days ago. I swear to you. I will go grab it if you don't believe me. I
believe
swear.
Dude, I believe you. Stranger things have happened. Hey.
Yeah. It's good. It's awesome.
We have some... hold on to that thought, because we have some more just bizarre ad coincidences when it comes to the middle part of the Easy Allies podcast. The slim travel-ready dispenser, available in 5 colors, metal or plastic, packs and protects up to 10 gum pieces at a time. Fits just in just about any purse or pocket on the go. And in a world where we all need to be extra safe and hygienic, the quick release button means you can still share with friends. No wrappers, hands, or hassles. No words on how fast the gum comes flying out of there. It's not a substitute for brushing and flossing, but this is great support for your oral health. Pair it with a Quip electric toothbrush for adults and kids, and Huber's refillable floss, and more great products. And if you go to getquip.com, that's Quip is Q-U-I-P, getquip.com/easyallies right now, you can get a free plastic dispenser with any refill plan. That's a free dispenser at getquip.com/easyallies. That's spelled GETQUIP.com/easyallies. You can also find the Quip electric toothbrush, refillable floss, and more in the oral care aisle at your local Walmart. Quip, the good habits company. Mm-hmm. Canva Pro is the easy-to-use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. Whether you're a professional designer or just getting started, Canva Pro can help boost you and your team's productivity and creativity. It's quick, easy, and an affordable way to design whatever you need. I am so prepared with evidence of this. Do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know what was created in Canva? The Mindful Games logo. Boom!
Ooh.
It's almost like
great logo.
It's almost like I prepared, and it sucks because Ian's not on this time. But like Ian was like, "Hey, Canva sponsor coming up. We cool with this?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Okay, you're oddly into Canva." I was like, "Let's do it." And then after that came up, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to to talk to Ian about this and be like, hey, you remember that sponsor? They worked on Mindful Games." But he was like, "Hey, Mindful Games, cool logo." And I'm like, "Yes." Here at Easy Allies, Ian and myself, the reason we came up with this because we're making logos and stuff like that. We're using After Effects and Photoshop and Premiere and all these different services that we use to gather logos and put graphics together. And I mentioned to Amanda about Mindful Games. She's like, "I want to make your logo, and I'm going to make it in this thing called Canva." And it turned out really well. And what I really liked, because it gave her elements that were really easily adjustable, and it was really easy to export everything to me. She actually had one little quick fix that I needed before the series started, and she was able to do that very quickly. But she was like just so passionate about those things, and that's the thing, Huber. Like, there's been so many ads that we've gotten here on the podcast where just like Amanda's like, "I love that." Like, oh, sweet. No matter what you're creating and sharing, Canva Pro is everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, video, audio, and graphics. No words if they have any of those dogs that are in the Alien dog game. Plus, Canva Pro comes with time-saving tools that simplify and speed up the creative process. You get all of this and more in just one Canva Pro subscription. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use this promo code. Just go to canva.com to canva.me/allies, canva.me/allies. Get your 45-day extended trial. That's Canva, canva.me/allies, canva.me/allies. And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. It is June. How are we doing on Pop Carts? Well, it's not June. It's not June yet. It will be June. Hopefully later this year.
Tommy still has both of his.
He still has his, and I still got... Oh, no, I already got my toaster. Okay, all right, just take this down. So I want to be excited for June. I want June to be spicy in terms of hot takes. Operation Tango. Operation Tango, Huber. You familiar? No. PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC, June 1st. This is a co-op spy game.
Oh!
And it's got the friends play for free vibes that It Takes Two and A Way Out have. But yeah, it kind of has that like two VR games that come to mind. But I Expect You to Die and Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Kind of has that vibe of like, we got to do this thing, but I need you to do the thing you're doing, and then we'll all work together. Go to youtube.com/easyallies for a fun preview of Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood, which Ben just checked out. That is going to be on Stadia and PC on June 1st, and on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One on June 8th, when Elder Scrolls Online comes to the new gen, the current gen. And I would love to go back. Sam Damiani could play any MMO. Any MMO, I could do it.
Same.
If I had friends that were committed enough, I
got to play at ESO at an early event when it was coming out, and Elder Scrolls has never really been my thing, especially like the online version, what it was offering. So I can't be I don't want to say negative things about it when I really don't play it.
Right,
but
it's like it's just
weird,
rain on this parade.
It's like I'm glad people. I'm glad they're supporting it. I'm glad people still enjoy it. But to me, it's just kind of chugging along. It feels like it's still there. I don't know how successful or how big it is, but this is supposed to be the next big expansion. To me, it feels like it's a blip on the radar compared to what other bigger MMOs are doing for their expansions, where it's holy crap, everyone's talking about those. It's not so much. Whenever a new WoW expansion comes out, with Endwalker coming out with 14, people are going nuts about this. I don't really see people going nuts about Blackwood. So maybe it's just not my thing, and I don't follow those crowds, but I feel like the way I follow MMOs, I would probably, I'd see more general excitement for it, so it's a little weird to me.
I, too, Damiani, have never fully clicked with Elder Scrolls. I like Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, whatever. But I imagine for all the fans out there, this is the best place to be while waiting for the next Elder Scrolls. So at least they get to just live in Elder Scrolls for the time being. So that's nice.
That's a good point.
Elder Scrolls and I have clicked hard. That said, I
bow and arrows.
I do not have an account in Elder Scrolls Online because I would jump headfirst into that. That would be dangerous. But when I was talking to Ben Huber about the preview, it's what year is this? We got Diablo 2 hype, Outland Burning Crusade hype, Elder Scrolls Oblivion hype. What, strange times. Strange times.
He hasn't really played that much Elder Scrolls in the past or online in the past. And he was really digging his time with this. He put about 14, 15 hours into it.
Yeah, I played it when it came to console too, because some of the patrons kept bugging me. They wanted to play so bad. They were like, let's play let's all play Elder Scrolls Online. And I played and it was fun, but it's just any MMO. If you're playing an MMO, you got to cut 30 games off your list for that year. So I'm not willing to make that trade.
That's true. Also, I might just have a bias against it because when I played it at E3 and I asked about controller support, the person who was helping me kind of scoffed at me. And I was kind of
here we go.
And I was okay.
Here we go.
And I wanted to say, well...
What was their name?
It was almost like they acted like it didn't exist. I'm like, have you not played Final Fantasy 14 for the past, 3 years? And, it absolutely does exist, an MMO with great controller support. I was like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to say anything right now. I was like, I don't want to get kicked out of E3. I was like, this guy was like, you do not know what you're talking about, bud. Please
coming at you.
I was like, I'm not, because they were kind of getting annoyed. I couldn't play the mouse keyboard. I'm like, well, where's the? I was like, do you not have a controller option for this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. There's only one other time I ever got treated like that. That was at IGN's game festival thing that they did in Anaheim, and it was a race car game, but they had a cool setup to get into it. I just wanted to try it out, and do you play games? I'm like, yes. And then I get in and play it, and I crash. This guy clearly doesn't play video games. Okay, I don't play racing games, but it's a racing sim game. What the hell are you talking about? And it's in a simulated real race car. I'm like, I don't know come on, everyone else is crashing. You're making fun of everyone. Wow. Okay. Real nice guys.
This is good. We need to work through this. This is. I think we all have some deep, dark, some emotions we're holding deep that we've been treated by PR and developers over the years. So we're just not sharing.
E3 emotions.
Yeah.
New show.
I still remember my preview of the game Gigantic. Remember Gigantic? It's the most stressful preview I've ever been at. The game's not even around anymore. I remember them just yelling at us. It was like, they were like, the guy was legitimately disappointed in me that I lost. He was like upset. I was like, I'm sorry. Just a preview of it. Hopefully a little bit less stressful. DC Superhero Girls Teen Power comes exclusively to Nintendo Switch on June 4th. Huber Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2.
Yeah, randomly, Ghost Warrior Contracts 1 is a game I've finished. Mm-hmm. We're swimming, man. Hopefully, if this is better than the first one, better than the last one, it'll be pretty fun. It's just super, like, it tries to go for realism with, like, sniper and bullet draw and all that stuff. But
they actually just put out some new info today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's still trying to be, like, arcadey a little bit, like, fun. You know, it's not full-on sniper simulation. It's still, like, an action game. But it has potential, honestly. Yeah, I don't really know much about the sequel, but the original was swimming for me.
Chivalry 2, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC on June 8th. A game that amuses me, a franchise that I don't know if I will get into, but I'm happy it exists. I love watching people play it. It's such a very boisterous, crazy game. Don't know a heck of a lot about the sequel, though. Blood was recently reminded that Edge of Eternity is a thing, that it's going to be on PC on June 8th.
Well, it's been in
development for a while, so
coming out of early access. So people have been playing a ton of this game, but they're finishing it up. They're putting the last 20 hours of the story onto it, and then it's going to come out on consoles as well.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, PS5 June 10th.
My Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Knowing you, Damiani, it could have been a toaster strudel, and I would have been one. You know.
Playing that game in 60 frames is going to be just amazing. The quality of life updates, that makes me really excited to have to go. The prospect of replaying a game, making it easier to replay it, I love when developers do that. And the minute they said, like, material, I'm like, okay, excellent stuff here. And then new content, the extra content, the Yuffie coming out of nowhere, getting this new story with Yuffie and the Wutai side of things, because obviously they got a nice setup for part 2 in here. That is just like the icing on the cake. So enticing me to replay it with all these better features and then brand new content.
PS5 exclusive, though. Brutal.
Yeah.
Damiani, what are a couple of the quality of life improvements?
Faster loading times. You see that?
Nice.
Yes. That was probably like, the improved backgrounds. I don't remember the chapter when you're scaling up. Oh yeah, like you go to the plate. Those backgrounds, those compressed JPEG looking stuff was not good, and this was just like,
yeah, because there's been kind of a weird. They keep showing like remasters, PS4 to PS5, and a lot of people out there are like, dude, PS5 is always looking worse. Like, Judgment, the remaster, is coming out, and a lot of people are like, dude, I like PS4 looking more. And then right when the Integrate trailer came out, a lot of people on social media were kind of saying the same thing of like, I think the original looks better. PS5 looks all, like, blown out, like, bloom. What do you think about that, Damiani? Do you think it looks better? Or?
The only thing that's interesting to me, I think it looked from the comparison video, just in the videos themselves, this definitely looks better with the lighting.
Yeah.
I will say the 60 frames, the 30 frames definitely gave the game a cinematic feel, because the whole game looked like Advent Children in motion, even like the gameplay. So seeing it in 60 frames, because Advent Children, going back and watching that old movie, seeing it at such a high frame rate looks a little weird. It's like, this is good. This is how it's supposed to be. It's like, but it looks too fast now. Too fluid emotion. But it's like, I'll get used to that so quickly, because it's gonna feel so good playing it probably. Yeah, but there's always that jeopardy of like messing with lighting and it backfires, but like maybe they were selective in what they've shown, but the Shinra building and like the atrium, like the light coming through the window, like that was like, yes, That definitely looks better so far.
Nice. Awesome.
The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on June 10th.
Who is
Oh,
this
yeah.
Ninja Gaiden expert here, and can explain to me why this is based on the certain version? Like, was it Sigmas or whatever? I'm not, but it's not based on the versions people wanted it to be based on. But they lost the code to those or something. I don't know that story. I didn't know if anyone knew that. It seemed very intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm. I just know these are the Ninja Gaiden, hardest game I've ever played in my life. Makes Sekiro and Bloodborne and Dark Souls look
Even after all
like
these years, wow.
Honestly, like a cakewalk. Ninja Gaiden destroys me. So I'm gonna try again to try to do it, and I'll probably just die at that weird boss in the big room. Impossible. I die every time there. It's just such a hard game.
I've had the comfort knowing what are the most whatever of any particular genre. Like, what are the hardest games? Like, oh, we know it's these, so yeah, we're all set. Figured that out. And not just because it's designed poorly, but like, no, it's just legit. Like, how good they expect you to be at that to finish it. Guilty Gear Strive, which is somebody who's not into the FGC at all, has been getting some pretty good vibes before launch, and we get a couple more months before that comes out on June 11th. PS5, PS4, and PC. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Ooh, yeah.
Soon. Pretty soon.
Dude, if I
June
had
11th.
extra, if Resident Evil wasn't here, you know.
You get two
Oh my
Pop-Tarts.
God.
They come in twos.
I have.
This is
yeah,
gonna
just
be the
like you, I have
best-
several Pop-Tart options.
This is gonna be one of the biggest Ratchets of all time.
Sales wise.
Actually, no, because it's in PS5 only, not PS4, huh?
Well, in sales-wise, probably not. But I mean, in terms of like, yeah, this is one of the first games that we saw that felt like it was showing off next-gen hardware. And yeah, so being PS5 only, it's going to be a strength of this game. It's going to be really interesting to see how this game plays and feels and looks overall, and how it holds up in the final version. I think it's very exciting.
Less than 2 months away, Blood, and we still know nothing about the female Lombax.
true.
I hope we keep it that way. Don't even tell us her name before we play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll either, at this point, they'll either take it all the way to the finish line,
I
or
hope.
they'll spoil it like 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah. Fair
Stay
bet.
to play.
Dark Alliance comes out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series
Right.
X, Xbox One, PC on June 22nd. That seems soon.
Yeah, it does.
That seems
I want to be more hyped on it. And
for a delay, or I
the
just heard.
trailer
Yeah,
looks...
interesting.
Because I love Dark Alliance. I love Champions of Norath.
It's different.
I'm all about
It's
it.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's
purists are frustrated by it. I just the combat looks extremely up my alley. I don't know if I'll be able to make time for it, but
I think we just
curious.
need to see more of it, yeah.
Curious to see the attitude around that, because this is also, keep in mind, middle of June. We're getting Z3, baby. We're already putting it on the calendar. Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights on Switch and PC on June 22nd. That was just in the indie showcase.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of platforming, kind of Metroidvania-ish, possibly.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex, also just lots of remasters on these lists. Alex Kidd and Miracle World DX. PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, June 24th. Not a lot of experience with Alex Kidd, I'll be honest.
No, not
Yeah,
really.
A little bit
Sadly,
more
not
experience
much.
with Mana. Legend of Mana, PS4, Switch, PC, June 24th.
Yeah, I haven't played that one. Be curious to see how it stacks up to last year's Trials of Mana, but I think we did see a little bit of this in one of the more recent showcases. So it didn't, if I'm remembering right, it didn't feel like the same kind of, full-blown remake as that, but definitely curious to see how it turns out.
Rogue Book on PC on June 24th. A turn-based RPG with cards and a grid map. So there's all sorts of fun mechanics that they're adding with that, but that looked like a pretty substantial turn-based RPG. June 25th, coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch, my Pop-Tart, Mario Golf, Super Rush. Which I know is ridiculous. I know at this moment, Huber, you're like,
Nice.
your
No, that's
You're like,
great.
your
Great
Pop-Tart
pick.
is Mario Golf and not Resident Evil. Just because I knew you were going to pick that. Mass Effect, I knew Blood was going to have some nice things to say about. Both of the things I'm very much excited. But like, I know RE Village. I'm very curious. I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it. But like Mass Effect, I got lots of questions. But like, this is just. Every now and then, Amanda makes hot chocolate. She's like, "You want some hot chocolate?" I'm always like, "Yes." Like, why? Why would I never? It's just like, Hey, Jones, you want some Mario Golf? Like, I do. I want that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's story mode.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, story mode hype,
Yeah.
dude, for sure. And like the multiplayer modes where you're just like rushing to like get to the ball. Yes, yes.
It's so ungolf moment.
Yeah.
That is gonna be wild.
Scarlet Nexus is a game that for some reason, I keep forgetting that this has not come out. It seems like a game that maybe has. PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC on June 25th. I also, for some reason, imagine this game on Switch. I don't know why.
No.
Same, dude. I feel like this is a Switch game.
No, this is
No.
something I feel like they showed off in conjunction with next gen stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been in a lot of things. That's the thing. It keeps showing. That's why it's my toaster strudel, because I feel like
Hey.
at least with Biomutant, because I was leaning between that and Biomutant, you've at least had hands-on with that, so I was like, you guys can speak to Biomutant, why it doesn't feel good. Scarlet Nexus, it's just like popped up in trailers, and we've seen a lot of the same things. They've talked about how it's going to be a game where you can like use the environment, like throw around objects and stuff as well, and they want it to look really cool and flashy, and it's like, that sounds great, and its visuals kind of like will probably lend itself to looking very flashy and cool, but like I've seen this premise time and time again, and like flashy, cool looking anime game in a trailer, and it's like it's not very interesting to play. It's kind of just like mash button and not very intriguing. So without any real in-depth hands-on with this, and it just with the delay, I don't know. Like, I'm just skeptical. It's from the Tales team, and but like I'm confident in the Tales team making Tales RPG games.
Right.
I'm not, and they want to do something different. They want to get away from the fantasy. Like they want to do something that's different. And I hope I'm proven wrong, but like I'm just very skeptical about this. I would not be surprised if this gets delayed out of here somehow.
Oh.
I kind of
put
wouldn't
money on
either,
that.
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've oddly seen it a lot of times, but not enough of it to really get a good feel for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get Astral Chain vibes. Quite
Yeah. I think that might be why
I
also
had
I'm confused about the launch.
Nintendo gave us a bunch of deep dives into Astral Chain though before its release. Like
and that combat is great.
Yeah, we got, and like
Chain,
you got Platinum Games attached to it.
Yeah.
There's no
Sure.
Platinum
Good call.
Games attached
Yeah.
to Scarlet Nexus.
Right.
Totally.
I gotta question the combat system in like a big, like when it's not confined to like a small arena like Tales games are. It's like, how is this really gonna play? Because I think of like Code Vein. Everyone was kind of like excited about that at first. I think it ended up being like okay, but there was obviously it was trying to be like a Souls like knockoff type game, and it succeeded in some regards, but in other regards it didn't live up to those expectations. I remember playing it at E3 with Ben. I remember Ben just not being at the time not being that impressed with Code Vein.
Right.
Disguise 6, Defiance of Destiny, last game on my list, June 29th. And Scarlet Nexus the end of June as well, so we might hear more about that in the next couple months.
For sure.
But good couple months for JRPGs. There's quite a lot going on. Got some remakes.
Good couple months for
New
video
sequels.
games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was a hefty chunk of previews. That was a lot of games to talk about. And before we get into Ults this week, I have to make this its own separate headline because this happened. This is one of those things that incites the conversation in the comments where they're like, maybe we should make the podcast a different day of the week. It's like whatever day we make it, the day before is the day that Jason Schreier via Bloomberg is going to start this crazy conversation about Sony essentially only prioritizing or primarily prioritizing AAA stuff and maybe taking people from other developers and moving them over, in this case, Bent Studio, potentially sacrificing Days Gone 2 in the process, a game I 120% thought was happening. Maybe it's not. All of this obviously hasn't been confirmed by Sony.
Right.
But, and again, this was a conversation people were having while this podcast was published last week. So this, picked up right after that. Totally lots of different ways to potentially cover this. Another thing that came out of the story was the idea of a Last of Us remake, the idea of remaking the first game and having no more passionate Last of Us fan amongst the allies than Michael Huber. I am really curious to hear what Michael Huber has to say about a remake of The Last of Us. Obviously, you play the hell out of it, but
there is a frame trap conversation about this, so we don't
Check
need
that
to
out.
repeat all of
Definitely.
that. For sure, yeah.
Check it out on Frame Trap if you want some of our thoughts for sure. Ben, Brad, and myself go pretty in depth into it. I just think it's too soon. But what I didn't bring up on that Frame Trap is that this is a leak. That we shouldn't even know about it. And I didn't bring that up, and I should have. Because right now, in this moment, April 2021, it's way too soon for The Last of Us. But if you show me a trailer a year from now with the most insane visuals I've ever seen, I'm going to say, yep, bring it.
That's a good point. Also, fair to point out, though I haven't listened to it yet, Schreier is on the most recent MinMax podcast.
Good point.
Apparently is defending their position by saying that some people have jumped to wrong conclusions about what the article was actually about. That Sony is not completely abandoning smaller developers and indie games, and that some people are taking away jumping to the wrong conclusion here, and it's just like blanket statement stuff. So might be worth those people who are think that's the end, maybe listening to that and getting some more insight, just so that you get the full story, perhaps.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was strange to me about the whole conversation in the report is this idea that this team in San Diego was going to we're going to take the lead and we're going to do our own thing, and our own thing is going to be a remake of The Last of Us. And I just I'm sorry guys, there's no circumstance where that would have not been handed off to Naughty Dog at some point. They're not just going to let you have your way with that. So it's just such a strange situation. It's I kind of feel for them, but what do you expect? They are very, very possessive of that. That is their baby.
To put it into context too, versus other remakes, I like to look at dates because numbers don't lie. We have Resident Evil in 96 and 2002, 6 years later only. Yeah. And then also Yakuza. Yakuza on PS2 versus Yakuza Kiwami was about 10, 11 years. Last of Us is right in the middle of that at 8 years now, 7, 8 years. So
we reboot the Batman mythos every 5 years.
Well, there's reasons.
We've had 3 different actors playing Batman at the same
time. But think of the reasons. I hate to point out this. The difference here with movies, people need to keep licenses active. So you got to keep making these things. That maybe people don't understand. That's why aren't you waiting? With Yakuza, it's like Sega saw an opportunity. This series, they tested out this can be big in the West. Let's start bringing these out sooner because they will sell. And so they were striking while the iron is hot with that series, and still are. With the most recent entry. I think people are trying to read into, if this is true, why Sony is doing the last why Sony's forcing a Last of Us, and potentially Last of Us 2. Why are you doing Last of Us remaster now? And that explanation, the why. I think the why is the thing. Also, but the other important thing about that story is is Ben. It's what happened with them. I think it's the real most intriguing thing. I don't on a personal level, I don't really not offended or anything like that. Oh, they're making a Last of Us remake. Oh, sure. This is Sony. They want to have their games look as good as possible every time you go back to play them. That's their MO. I feel at this point is that they're gonna favor, even over a simple let's up-res it or something. No, we're gonna put in the effort. We're gonna make this look really good for our current gen hardware. That's just what they're doing. And if you don't understand that by now, you express your disappointment, but that's the why. I feel that is the why Sony is doing this.
Yeah, it's just there are so many other things that need the remake treatment. Hell, even Uncharted 1 would benefit so much compared to 2. I love Uncharted 1, don't get me wrong, but the leap to 2 is huge, and you feel it, and it's wow, 1 is prime remake candidate right there, but
devil's advocate, Huber. Maybe it is being worked on, and this stuff isn't supposed to be known yet. Maybe they kept that secret.
Yeah. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence, Huber, because this does kind of get into the ballpark of I think it's 1 in 10 to 20 stories that Shire publishes where I'm I don't know if this is like news, like I just because it's so hypothetical and like these are projects that are just beginning to being talked about to maybe happening, and so it's just weird to kind of get in there and be like, they did this thing, and like, well, they haven't really done anything yet. At the same time, you have a lot of, it kind of reminds me of Japan Studio a little bit, Damiani, where you have people leaving. Like you have like a studio kind of being shuffled around and asked to do different things. Not all of those things are like really exciting when you're looking at the next 3, 4, 5 years of your career. It's like, do I want to kind of be picking up table scraps? Do I want to be finishing projects for other people? Or do I really want to be working on my own stuff? And when you stretch these disappointments and these cancellations over like 4, 5, 6 years, then the story just kind of gets lost. Like every now and then you'll have like a bunch of people bail on a studio, and then it becomes a big headline, and they talk about what's been happening over the last 3 or 4 years. But like some of the stuff seems like we wouldn't have found out about this had it not been for Schreier and Blueberg's reporting. So
That's true. And also another thing is like I think also recently Jeff Grubb had an article put out about like the Jim Ryan needs to redefine their narrative, and like people might be conflating a bit of that with like all the Sony things that have happened. As you said, Huber, you felt like Sony was kind of getting piled on lately.
They've been getting kicked on the ground for sure.
Yeah, and it's like the accusation that like they're completely ditching anything but AAA games. Yet we just saw in their most recent state of play, those weren't all those weren't all AAA games. They were definitely featuring some like middle like tier games, B tier games or whatever, and still focusing on some indies. I just wonder sometimes if people have a dead set in their heads like this is what they're doing, and like they make everything fit and bend to that logic. About their perception, and when it comes to coming also like old school like console wars nonsense probably coming out during all of this too.
So having it been a week old and us covering it on another podcast, wanted to touch upon it because of its timing. But
good to something that always gets lost in the shuffle with Bend is that they're working on a new IP now, though. Everyone's like, ha, you screwed Bend over. And it's like, well, at the end of that, burying the lead, it's like they're working on a brand new thing right now. They're good. So, Days Gone 2 maybe down the line.
I just want them to know. If they're not going to do it, I just want to know. Because that's the thing. Like when things get canceled before they're even announced, you don't know. No one tells you.
Right.
So I got, the frame rate's better on PS5. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to spend that much time if you got Days Gone 2 coming out next year. But maybe just let me know, and then I'll be playing.
Well, it's clearly not. But if so if there's a Days Gone 2, it's way down the road.
Hey, worth the wait, right?
Worth the wait.
Way down the road.
Booze, man.
Tagline: Days Gone 2, way down the road.
Love it.
Also this week, Nintendo had an indie showcase with all sorts of cool stuff. We're going to cover that on Friend Code. Michael Huber will be on Friend Code, so he and Damiani will be talking about that within days of you listening to this podcast. But Oxenfree 2, hype.
Yes.
Oxenfree 2, man. Woof.
Yes.
How does a game with characters that small give me jump scares? How did it do that? How did it?
Audio.
Yeah.
The funny thing about
good.
that, it is the first thing that Ted Rigolsky has done VO on since he started working at Nintendo. He's an old G4 vet, so I don't know whether anyone in the audience would know that name, because I think he worked more behind the scenes, but a lot of people in the industry know Ted.
I don't know if he wrote that indie showcase. There's some cheesy dialogue.
Yeah, I kind of think probably not. I don't know how that gets divvied out, but yeah.
One of those jokes you can't do. One of those jokes you just can't. It's just not. You can't do it. It's like, this is not a game. I think wasn't that the name of one of them that they had?
Yeah.
And so they like
it before?
Paused the indie showcase for like 10 seconds to be like, it's not a game. What do you mean? And it's like, what is this? The vaudeville? Stop. Come on now. Who's on first? Forget about it.
Good weekend game. Play it over the weekend.
Nice.
Short, so short.
Yeah.
Night in the Woods, Life is Strange vibes. Do it.
Yep. Rainbow Six Siege is getting a crossover with Rick and Morty. Why not?
What?
Sure. That's you gotta shove that IP into that game to make it work. You gotta push.
That's wow.
Hard.
Okay. That might be the biggest headline of the week for me. What the heck?
Speaking of Days Gone, it's launching on PC on May 18th. We got some new details. Aloy's coming to Fortnite. What's the next Sony character, Huber? What's the next one? We got Kratos. We got Aloy. We're getting
Deacon St. John.
All right.
Right.
I don't know if you recognize him.
Would work.
The U.S. Capcom store is closing down.
Oh.
The merchandise store. The European store is not. I don't know if they're like
Weird.
reopening later or they're rebranding themselves or something, but
Interesting.
VPN, let's go.
I mean, that's not about accessing Uber. That's the shipping. That's the
wrong type of content. 72% of the streaming video game hours watched in Q1 2021 were on Twitch. 72%.
King.
Wow.
So they're king. But 2.06 billion hours were watched on Twitch in March alone. That is a new monthly record for Twitch. But hours watched on YouTube grew from 1.1 bill to 1.4 bill. So YouTube's growing. Just not Twitch is still king.
Oh, shout
according to Damiani.
To Twitch. Just
Hubert.
Delete a bunch of view botters. Good stuff.
Epic Games just raised $1 billion to, quote, support Epic's long-term vision for the metaverse.
The metaverse?
The metaverse.
Those
The
Fortnite
metaverse?
acquisitions.
What the heck does that mean?
That's their thing. That's their Fortnite shared. Everything is part of the metaverse.
Dude,
Real life and fake real life.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It's Ready Player One. That was like my big. I remember when I read
Exactly.
Ready Player One with my friends, and I remember like we had our book club, and I came and I was like, all right, Ready Player was very entertaining, but like this would never happen. You would never have one entity that everyone, sure, Star Trek and Star Wars, it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna get those things together.
Challenge accepted.
And it's
How-
like, wow, Epic Games is running away with it.
There is guaranteed at some point going to be a movie or a TV show. That seems like a licensing nightmare, though. How do you get like all these Star Wars characters in the movie? All these Disney characters?
I mean, that's always going to be... I mean, even Ready Player One, the only reason that worked was because Spielberg had to go to a bat for a lot of that stuff, and they couldn't even get everything they originally wanted either. Yeah. Remember, because, no spoilers, but a certain movie that's an integral part of one of the challenges wasn't supposed to be that challenge. It was supposed to be something else, and they couldn't secure the rights. What they wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Well, talk about scenes from a movie. Tim v. Tim, Huber. Sweeney and Cook will both testify in the Apple versus Epic Games trial.
Wow.
I need a documentary on Netflix now, dude. I need a true crime documentary.
American Crime Story.
Yes. Yeah, I need it. I want it.
Speaking of Netflix, they snagged Sony's 2022 movie slate, which includes Uncharted. So Uncharted will be on Netflix.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. What a world we live in.
We had a new PlayStation update. They added USB storage and cross-generation share play. And mark your calendars, E3 scheduling already happening. Ubisoft Forward got their E3 time slot, June 12th at 12 p.m. You can start writing those down. We know when an E3 press conference is happening in April.
Where's Keeley?
Where's
That's all
Keeley?
I care about. That's all
Yeah,
I care
I
about.
actually do.
That's
I just
all
want to know the
want.
dates.
That's the shadow drop. Keely's hosting E3. It's all a ploy. Watch.
It is time for Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
From Grant. Hi, allies. My question is aimed more towards Damiani because I've seen him live stream this game, but of course it would be fun to hear all of your opinions. Anyway, what would you like to see from the next Donkey Kong Country game? Plot, setting, mechanics, new family members. And would you like to see remakes of the original 3 DK Country games? And if not, how come? Or instead, an enhanced remaster of the first 3 games. Love and respect from Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes. Grant.
Man, it's been a while since I played Tropical Freeze, and even longer since I played Returns. But it does feel like it needs a third game to complete that trilogy, just because the original DKC trilogy is so fondly remembered. And they did go crazier. So the thing they did, I think they got the most crazy in with the third one, was that world map. Being able to more freely explore it. That would be something, because they're obviously secret paths. Like, you beat a level a certain way in Tropical Freeze Returns, you get an alternate path. I would like to see, like, maybe you could go to, like, a different world or something, like, World 2 or World 3 if you want, and you could check out things like that. That would be pretty cool and a nice homage to 3, I think.
What's funny, Damiani, is when you say that, the thing that actually came to my mind is... and I didn't get to play it, but you reviewed it, was Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. The stuff they did with the world map.
Yep, there you go. I would, like, even something like that. Doesn't have to be, that's a great idea, Bloodworth. I think, and it would be a great display of, like, respect to, like, pay tribute to that. By having, like, they don't need I don't know if they need the puzzle element so much, but like that way of progressing through a world was so unique to a platformer, but it added so much more meaning. I've seen so many games try and tackle that overworld linear map. Like even 3D World, more recent 3D World re-release made me realize people made such a big deal of 3D World's map when it came out. Oh, you could walk around anywhere, but you might find a coin box or a 1-up or maybe a hidden level or two. But it was like ukulele and the possible layer just blows all those expectations away, man.
Would you ever want to see a 64 type thing?
I'm not a fan
like an adventure.
Donkey Kong 64. I know that it has its fans, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I love it staying side-scrolling. I love that. They already do play with the layers, going back and forth through layers. They've done their version of minecarts, stuff like that. I'm trying to think if there's any other type of like attraction type level they could do.
Jungle Beat.
You're talking about Jungle Beat? I mean, that's cool. Just if they want to really challenge themselves, like online multiplayer, online co-op. I know people rail on Nintendo for not having great online, but if that's something they could actually make work in the future, that would be like, I just want a good online co-op platformer. If such a thing can like exist from Nintendo, because like theirs are so good, but it's like either play in person or get out of here.
Yeah. Offline or local.
Yeah.
Cranky Kong is like old Donkey Kong, right? That's like the
it's supposed to be the original Donkey Kong.
Yeah, supposed to be, but they never really got into that, right?
It's like so is Donkey Kong Jr. Like I don't really follow that lore as much as it's like it's just was
That's
rare
what
having
I want.
fun.
I want that lore. I want the lore. Here's how we do it.
Okay.
Here, deep cut. Do you remember Frequency with Dennis Quaid and Billy Crudup?
Yeah, dude.
I know that movie.
I love that movie.
Where his dad's a fireman and he's got it, but he gets like the phone and he can call him. And so you got like the 60s and the modern era back and forth.
Was it the phone
him.
or the radio that they communicated to each other?
Might have been a radio.
Yeah.
Cranky Kong dies, and they all, they have a big. It opens. They have a big ceremony for Cranky Kong, and it's actually kind of like a celebration. Like they're celebrating his life. They're like, look at all these amazing things that he did. So they decorate the island, and they have all these like ceremonies and stuff. But when that happens, there's something he did in his life that he didn't finish, and so old Cranky Kong, who kind of looks like DK back in the day, has to communicate with DK now. So it's kind of like Godfather Part 2, like they're going at the same time.
Nice.
So you play both of them, and so you. Basically, it's like who were his friends? What were his animal friends? And who was backing him up back in the day? Maybe Mario guest stars or like a weird version of Mario or something.
Gameplay wise, Jones, if it had like two styles for every level, like NES or like Game Boy Black monochrome style level for him, or arcade style graphics, and then like you get like the better graphics or modern. Oh man, there we go. Each level has multiple styles.
Yeah. Well, they talked about remakes or whatever, and I'd have to say most forms of what I would see a remake realistically happening of the Super NES games. I wouldn't be interested in. I think there's something very special and unique about the visual style and the technology of that day. The impossible dream would be if they could actually re-render, like if they could do the full quality renders of all of those models and like put it back together without any of the Super Nintendo compression. But there's no, like, I just know, like, the systems of those days, there's probably no way they were able to save all of those assets.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
There's, like, rooms full of giant, towers, refrigerator-sized computers.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like they would have to remain in 4.3, because if you widescreen some of those designs of those levels weren't, especially, like, in Donkey Kong Country 2, Stickerbush Symphony, those puzzles that you're supposed to figure out. If you could see wider, like, oh, I know I need to go over here now. Like, there's no puzzle anymore. I clearly know I'm going. Like, you'll know where to go and stuff. And like that was part of the challenge, was the screen only scrolled so far, so you gotta be a little bit tepid there.
We had somebody submit to the community showcase that's making kind of a Strider-esque action,
Struder!
punk, Struder game, and They said, they're like, oh, and I decided to move the camera back, and so now I've screwed myself because my levels weren't built for that. So now I have to like make everything bigger. It's just like game dev. Yikes. From JG, hey allies, 2 weeks ago on the podcast, Jones mentioned that he was surprised by how many viewers couldn't believe you guys didn't know who Asterix and Obelix are. I know this is a little bit late to the party. You're right on time. But being the massive Asterix fan that I am, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to make this Love and Respect game for you guys. Since most characters' names in the series are a pun on their personalities, I thought it'd be fun if you guys could match the correct name with a short description of one of the famous characters. Famous characters, you ready? We're all going to make ourselves... Yes, Huber, your expression is correct.
Asterix?
You are ready for this game.
Okay.
I'm with you.
And I think we finally made a full circle.
Yeah.
I think now every single ally knows about Asterix and Obelix. We've done it.
Okay.
We know the names.
Right.
We don't know anything else.
Yeah. I believe Aurelian Grenier, I think, was only kicked this off.
And we know that they are apparently gigantic everywhere except for the United States.
Okay. So this will be multiple choice. I'll give you a description of the character and then 3 possible names. You just let me know what this character is called.
Yeah, Hubert, this is basically like to everybody that is listening to this podcast that's not in the U.S., it's like us not knowing who Spider-Man is.
Right.
Okay.
It's
awesome.
like, what? Are you
That's
are you
so
for
good.
real?
I love this.
Number 1, this character is the village bard. He loves singing and playing his lyre and jumps at every opportunity to do so. Everyone thinks his singing is unbearable. In Asterix and the Normans, it is so unbearable that he teaches the fearless Normans the meaning of fear. Is it A, homeopathics, B, cacophonics, or C, get a fix?
Cacophonics.
Cacophonics sounds cool.
Cacophonics seems like it.
Nice.
That's it. Number 2, an extremely buff Roman legionary chosen to represent Rome at the Olympics in Asterix at the Olympic Games.
Legionary? Okay.
Legionary. Is this Tremens Delirious, Give Us a Bonus, or Gluteus Maximus?
Please
Gluteus
be
Maximus.
Gluteus Maximus, please. Oh,
Gluteus Maximus. This character is the oldest inhabitant of Asterix's village. He is mentioned as 93 years old. He demands respect, generally more than he is given. Nonetheless, he dislikes being treated as old and will attack anyone who comments to that effect. In particular, he often beats up the village blacksmith, fully automatics, for refusing to fight back due to his age. Is this A, geriatrics, B, unhygienics, or C, vital statistics?
Geriatrics.
Please be
Geriatrics.
geriatrics.
These are pretty easy, but yeah, just...
Okay, these are good. Those are too cool.
But geriatrics is a good... Yep.
Fully automatics is pretty funny
That was
too.
pretty good, yeah.
Fully automatics.
And finally, number 4, this character is Obelix's pet dog. Unlike his immense master, he is very tiny, but he can have a nasty temper. He loves nature and hates to see trees suffer. Is he pacifix, dogmatics, or impedimenta?
Pacifix.
I guess dogmatics, but yeah, I don't
The
know.
last one?
No, Blood got it, dogmatics.
All right.
Nice.
There we go. See? Learned so much. It just took us a couple of podcasts. Just took about 6 to 8 hours, and we're now
We're
all
gonna have
caught
to
up to
watch
date.
some movies or something.
Very cool. I love that.
We need a
Thank
watch
you.
party.
Thank you, people in the rest of the world. Like, I love that sharing of culture. I would have never heard of this
Hello,
character.
rest of the world.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's so good.
Awesome GBA game, Huber. If you ever live in the market, if you ever-
Really?
if you're ever at an old game store and you see you see an Asterix and Obelix for the GBA,
That's the one?
it's what's wild. It's a 3D. You're moving around in 3 dimensions. And on the
Whoa.
Game Boy Advance, wild. From Evan1177. Hello, allies. I'd like to talk about taking risks in game development. Which game and or studio out of these two, and we talked about both of these franchises and specifically these games in this podcast, and this is a spoilery comment, so I'm going to dial back to spoilers a little bit. And by what I mean is, which company would have suffered the biggest negative reaction from the fan base and critics? Is it Naughty Dog with The Last of Us Part 2, where they did what they did in The Last of Us Part 2 with their characters? Essentially, who you got to play as, or Square Enix with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they decided to hand one of the most beloved games of all time over to the person responsible, over to the person responsible for the Kingdom Hearts universe, not make it simply a one-to-one remake, and split the remake into different parts. I know both of these games have received negative reaction from some people, but they have definitely come out ahead in the end, considering what they tried, in my opinion. I'm curious what you all have to say about this. Love and respect. So which of those two decisions, those weird, interesting takes on these two very anticipated games, which was the bigger risk?
Oh my god, Last of Us Part 2. I think.
I would probably be inclined to agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger risk.
Yeah.
It's like
I
a
think it's like the
pre-launch or
biggest-
post-launch risk.
The biggest blowback. There's definitely blowback on Final Fantasy VII as well, but I think there's
Last
certainly
of
more.
Us.
Certainly more passionate blowback on Last of Us.
A vocal group felt very alienated by The Last of Us Part 2, so I think that's the winner.
And I feel, Damiani, that a lot of the episodic frustration or curiosities or fears are kind of going away. You know, like...
Yeah, the concern was just that the game would only be like 10 hours, 20 hours, and Square Enix kept insisting, no, it's a full game's length. You're getting an actual full RPG, and to their credit, it was that.
Yeah, it felt like that.
Yeah, I think before... It's so weird, because I think if you ask that question before either of these games come out, I still think the biggest risk would always just... I know it's... Final Fantasy VII, I think, always had one of the biggest risks, because people used to say it was like it's the panic button move from Square Enix. Hit that, they're gonna make like hundreds of millions of dollars easy. They'll bail themselves out of any like tight situation. But it's also like, is it really that easy? Especially with what they're doing, like there's a lot of risk to reimagining the game as they did, the classic game as they did. Though the one thing I will say, like I understand like the concern about like it being handed to Nomura, but there were other people who were in charge of this game who I think kind of would mitigate that concern, like Toriyama and Kitase being involved, the original writer of Final Fantasy VII actually being involved, and a writer of some of the better stories being involved. It's like when you actually took a hard look at it, I think it was in much better hands. And like if you're someone who does not like Nomura, despite that,
right,
it was in very good hands.
I also want to say, and I don't know if I've actually expressed this on anything or not, or if it's just something I'm thinking about on my own more recently, but I really think that, like, in a lot of ways, like, how they've approached Final Fantasy VII Remake and where they put this split makes a lot of sense. Because when you go back and look at the original game, like, Midgar is different than pretty much everything else. Because you are locked into kind of this linear scenario, and like, yes, it's a lot quicker to get through, but when you think in terms of what they need to do with the game engine and how the game's going to play and all of that, having these cramped streets and kind of a smaller environments in a sense is a lot different than having a game with a gigantic overworld. And so I'm really curious still where they're going to go with part 2. I'm curious whether there will be more than a part 2 or if that's really all they're going to need. But yeah, I really think that the next part is going to be a lot more like Final Fantasy 15 structurally than Midgar is, because that's just the nature of how the game progresses once you leave Midgar.
Yeah, I think the eyes are still on like FF7 Remake's not completely out of the woods. It's definitely still a lot of faith, but there's a lot hinging on part 2 following through with some things. And as Blood said, it can't just rely on being the same style because of the design of Midgar versus the design of the rest of the game. So there are people out there who are completely expecting open world segments, and if there aren't open world segments, they're going to be pretty upset. So I'm not one of those people. I think it's still a little bit crazy to expect the whole rest of the game to be open world. That'll be like that's going to take forever, I think. But there's definitely a lot riding on part 2, not just like design wise, but also like narratively. With what they decided to do, it really hinges upon how they finish it out.
Yeah.
More parts the merrier, baby. That goose is laying golden eggs. Keeping them, just
I think
keep churning them out.
To me, as someone who's not as invested in the plot, I think the biggest risk to me was the combat, going from turn-based to action. It's just completely different. I know you can do like the weird proto-fake turn-based mode in there, but it's pretty much an action game. So it's like that versus story in Last of Us Part 2. What is the bigger risk? The story of Last of Us Part 2 or the gameplay of Final Fantasy? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Last of Us as well. Would be my take. From Caesar Villa, hello allies. The wife caved.
Huh?
It Takes Two.
Back in the Easy A podcast 240, I told her how after watching Blood's unboxing video of the PS5 and seeing that gigantic thing, she said, "Oh God, I'll wait for the slim version." April 13th was my little brother's-in-law's birthday, and while talking about gifts to send him, we suddenly found that Amazon had PS5 in stock, and the wife immediately said, "Oh, it's a good price, get it." To which I replied, "Wow, you want to send your little brother a PS5?" To which her reply was, "No, not for him, for us." I reminded her that she said she'd have to wait for the slim, to which her reply was, "Nah, just get it." Me: "Are you sure?" Wife: "Yes." Me: "Okay, should we get another controller?" Wife: "Well, of course. What's the point of having just one?" Me: "Okay, so you're sure?" Wife: "Yes." Me: adds console and controller to the cart and checks out. "This is it. Last chance. You're sure?" Wife: "God damn it, yes." So as I write this, I'm waiting for a PS5 to arrive. I guess the story ends here, but this is love and respect, and Huber is part of the panel, so here's my question for you guys. Resident Evil Village is launching in less than a month, and well, I now have a PS5, so I think it's a good time to play there, but I still haven't played 7 yet. Should I play 7 first? Does Thomas and Contact Caesar? Yes.
Oh, tricky.
Yeah, I'd say out of all the ones that are important, I would say it's definitely 7. It's this new era. It's a continuation of 7. It's a continuation of the series and the franchise, but it's very much a continuation of
But
7.
weren't you guys just saying that like there's some weird like glitch in the skybox thing?
Yeah, if you're a purist, like Batman Return to Arkham isn't the greatest remaster. I kind of put up with it, whatever. 7 on PS5, they do some weird things with the skybox because of HDR conflictions, is what I read. I don't know if that's...
If you turn off HDR, is it not an issue? Is that maybe?
Maybe that'll work, yeah. There's just a little bit of weird things. I don't know if it's enough to, like, tell you not to play it that way, though.
Okay.
It's just a little bit of things here and there, but overall, I think it's totally fine to play it that way.
Having just played Return to Arkham, Huber, Batman is funny looking in that game.
Right?
Batman is a funny looking
Right?
character. And like his
Yeah.
face is huge. Like it just, I don't know. It just,
And the lighting is all off.
Yeah, yeah. Strange. Strange hearing Kevin Conroy's voice coming out of this just like 3 foot tall head. They're like, whoa. Big guy, big guy. It is time for bets. This week's bet, MLB The Show 21 launches on Xbox Series X on April 20th. I have to do an MLB The Show 21 Xbox bet for something. Like,
Right.
this is just, we have to make this work. We have bet before, and we have been burned by the Xbox top paid games list. If you go to Xbox, PlayStation does not have a version of this. This is basically the top games that cost money that you can buy on the Xbox. With this game coming to Game Pass, might not be on this list, might be strangely placed. We're not sure when this list actually shuffles down, but we have bet on this before. I believe Call of Duty was one where it definitely showed up, so I want to know where that is going to be on that list, because obviously it is a big coup that it is on the Xbox. Damiani, where's that going to be on the Xbox top
I
paid
said
games
7th.
list? 7th, says Michael Damiani. Huber, baseball.
5. Number 5.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Bloodworth, 7, 5.
20.
Okay.
Probably right.
Yeah,
Well,
when we were
it's-
looking, yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be like 50, dude.
It's 4. I just snuck right ahead of Huber. So hopefully it's big. Hopefully they're
got
really
low and
rubbing
high?
it. They're really rubbing it. Yeah. Okay. I feel all right. I feel less good about this one. This week's bet, Season 2 of Seas of Thieves, launched today, April 15th. I want to know, what rank does it hold on Twitch's browse page right now? Ian Hink bet 3. Michael Damiani bet 1. Michael Damiani's feeling Season 2 of Sea of Thieves. Bloodworth bet 17. I bet 25. No offense, Sea of Thieves. I just was trying to win a bet here. Not trying to prove something.
Number 1.
Oh, I might have to do some math here. Hold on a second. No.
Viewers high to
No.
low. Viewers high to low.
It's at 10, which is closer to Ian Hank at 3 than Bloodworth at 7. Oh, wait, no, it's dead even. Wait a minute. Right?
Is it really?
Right? 10 minus 7 is 3. 10 plus 7 is 17.
Oh boy, gotta split them.
I think we both won the bet. 1, 2,
Oh,
3, 4,
sick.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We didn't even figure out that could have been right in the middle. Right in the middle. Huzzah! Sharing the
Huzzah.
win, Daniel Bloodworth and Ian Hink. Which will be you, Hubert, because you were in that spot. Bringing our scores to Jovial Penguins 9.
Danny DeVito.
You push me. You make it so important that I got to hold to you for the quote, and then the week after you just let it slip through your fingers. Brutal. Vociferous Beavers 8.
Nom 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 nom.
Well done, bud, well done. let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Patreon.com/easyallies is where you can go to learn a ton about the Easy Allies. This is when we started, primarily all of our financial support was being done through Patreon. We have grown into other areas ever since, but it has always remained the backbone of Easy Allies. And it is such a great place to go to learn about Easy Allies. We have lots of fun posts about things that you can be a part of, fun tiers that you can get, you can be a part of to be engaged in other shows. The Soundtrack Club we just started, where Bloodworth is going to be talking to people about soundtracks throughout the year. At the same tier, you can be a part of Reaction Shots, which is Huber's movie podcast that he does with Ian. So there's lots of ways that you can inspire and suggest and lead the wonderful content here at Easy Allies. In fact, much better than any of us can. And at the very top tier, you unlock all of the stuff, including a shout out on this very podcast. Blood, you are going first. I'm going after you. Damiani, you are going third. And Huber, you are going last. A special shout out to our tip top tier at patreon.com/easyallies. To Alex AI, Caleb Togi Crawford, Edgar So I'm a Spider So What, Elphanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Nick Sage Mode Q, and Stephen Thomason.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
And that's Edsger.
Edsger. Oh, thank you. Edsger. Oh, I thought he changed it. I remember it was Edsger
No,
last
he just
month, but I
corrected
thought he
Damiani
changed
because Damiani was also saying Edgar.
The plot thickens. Well, there's another little shout out there. 2 shout outs in one episode. I got to cut out the first one. Daniel Bloodworth and Michael Huber, you get to co-win the end of this podcast. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped in your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign-off. The Jovial Penguins are in the lead. Huber, I will give you your first pick and 2 of those. What do you want? I mean, you can hand one off to Blood if you want, but...
Yeah, hand it off. Hand it off, Blood. You're in control.
Oh.
You're in control. Blood.
I'll take video.
Cool.
Cool. So I need you to give me a final word and sign it off for me, Huber. What's your final word?
Final word. Resident Evil Village is coming up. Prepare as you see fit. Some YouTube lore videos, perhaps. Some full replaythroughs, perhaps. Check us out Saturday. This Saturday at 5 p.m. I'll be streaming that demo. So check that out.
Yeah, so if you go over to our secondary channel, youtube.com/easyalliesplays, you can check out the archive of a game we played called What the Dub. This was like a risk. I think like Ian and I both went into this stream being like, I don't know, man, like 15 minutes we could be done with this game. And it was just, it was a hoot the whole time. With 2 hours, we probably could have gone another hour. Yeah. Super funny, super fun stream. So check that out. And then Huber sign off.
Signing off. Year 6 now. Beginning of year 6. We're only getting started. Easy Allies. We got vaccinations coming in. We got E3 dates locked and loaded. So get hyped. We're just getting started. Love and respect. See you soon. Six was after Mercenaries. I'm out of my mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.